of prosecution. Hence, the lack of deterrence, which has not only emboldened persons involved in such corrupt practices, but has also led to a pattern of embarrassment on the international plane. This point is very, very important. It's important to the extent that we notice a trend where the government is constantly protecting people who are involved in one corrupt practices or the other and connected to the NDC party through a charade of prosecution or not the filing of nolle prosequa or discontinuance to free them. They then become very emboldened to continue with the corrupt practices. These are persons who are connected with the NDC, but their conducts are constantly exposed on the international plane. And in no time, I'll show you a historical trend of how this has embarrassed Ghana. We therefore believe it is necessary to recall some of these instances, not to suggest that they are legally identical, but to demonstrate why Ghana must strengthen its domestic mechanism for investigating and prosecuting corruption. That requires serious investigation in this latest scandal, a pattern that Ghanaians cannot ignore. Ladies and gentlemen, some may be tempted to dismiss this matter as another episode of partisan political disagreement. We urge Ghanaians to resist that temptation. The issue is larger than partisan politics. We are witnessing a troubling pattern in which allegations of corruption involving Ghanaian transactions have repeatedly come to light through proceedings, investigations, or settlements outside Ghana. In 3 of these cases, the names of President John Mahama or his relative pops up. Gassim Skansim. In proceedings before the Asker and Bairu District Courts in Norway in 2007, litigation involving Skansim International, ANS, and its former Africa manager brought into public domain evidence concerning alleged payments arrangements involving Ghanaian political and party interests during the 1990s. The court's findings must be distinguished from allegations or evidence that were not adjudged against any particular individuals. Nevertheless, proceedings expose issues concerning the movement of funds and alleged political payments under NDC 1 and NDC 2 administration.
I'm just looking at the legal vacation court roster. Okay, so there's a whole list of courts and judges who are supposed to sit during the vacation. And I just counted, and there are 31 judges sitting throughout Ghana during the legal vacation. Greater Accra alone has about 11 judges sitting as legal vacation. So why is counsel insisting that it is only these 2 cases that he is handling that are for the legal vacation? So the judge sitting in Bogatanga, Tamale, and Tema, are they all doing his cases? So I'm getting a bit frustrated by counsel's posturing. It is when we started, I just assumed that he probably didn't know that there are other judges sitting and hearing cases. But when you don't know and you have been informed, I think what you do is to change your position, but you keep reminding him, and he keeps repeating the same thing that he said from the first question you asked him. That's what is so special about these cases. But the evidence on record shows that there are other cases being heard in as many as 31 courts throughout the country. So clearly, there is no basis for these complaints. And the allegation that there are some cases that have been specified as ambulance cases is it is neither here nor there. Now,
that's Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice Sremsai there, responding to the concerns raised by the lawyers for both Kwabena Dubois and also Hanan, who are standing trial for separate incidents and charges against them. Their issue is, why do these courts have to sit for their specific cases to be heard during the legal vacation? Now, this concern that they raised was after they had written to the Chief Justice a few weeks back, indicating that they had already planned some activities for their legal vacation to go and rest, because it's been a long legal year for them. Subsequent to this, the Ghana Bar Association also corroborated their concerns, issued a statement to that effect. There have been 2 suits as we speak, the latest being the Ofoasia Yerebi Member of Parliament, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, who has filed a suit at the Supreme Court, essentially challenging the constitutionality of administrative warrants issued by the Chief Justice, directing the selected courts and the judges to sit and conduct criminal trials during the legal vacation. He's seeking a number of reliefs. There are some others who have also shared divergent views on this matter. But the Deputy Attorney General was consistent, and which also aligned with some lawyers, that this is not new. And it only has become an issue to talk about because there are politically exposed or high profile, so as termed, cases this time around being heard during the legal vacation. That's the only difference some see. Others also are looking at the roots of the matter as to whether really there is some constitutional basis for this. We'll have a conversation this morning, because this is not the first time somebody is going to court testing the constitutionality of these vacation courts as we have it. So we'll see if the president answers the questions being asked this morning. But stay with us. Also, the opposition New Patriotic Party says it has no confidence in the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Akuro-Tenga-Ayene, to independently investigate or prosecute persons implicated in the latest bribery allegations surrounding the AXA Energy Power Project. The party is arguing that the investigation must be conducted in a manner that inspires public confidence. So, what about the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, who have also indicated they're going to get into this matter? How about the Office of the Special Prosecutor, who indicated that they had been really working on this case, for quite a while now? This is not new to them. And in fact, they assisted the United States in investigating this matter. What we have seen is that the US, and very typical of them, have redacted some of the information that have been put out in the transcripts that we have all seen, the publicly available document, describing some of them as Ghanaian Official 1, Ghanaian Official 2, and so on and so forth. But then there are identities to these persons. If we're beginning to investigate our side of this matter, is it time for them to also return the favor that we give them? Let us know, who are these 5 persons who traveled to Turkey and are alleged to have received $5,000 each for some sort of a pocket money, go and do shopping, and as we've seen in a number of instances. The specific instances that the gentleman in question mentions, and the names, and there are those who are also raising issues that what he said may not necessarily meet the threshold if we're investigating matter of criminality beyond reasonable doubt. But there are those who say the United States definitely went beyond what Sebeko said himself to establish some fact beyond what he had alleged to convict him. We'll be back. We'll have a conversation on this matter. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Makofibo, also, and this morning we're going to be talking about it. He upheld the revocation of 3 mining leases held by Adamos Resources Limited following the submission of the Inter-Ministerial Committee's final report reviewing the company's petition against the initial decision. So we'll get into this matter because there are those who also challenging the ministry's position on this here on the Key Point. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. There are many ways you can connect with us on Facebook, on YouTube. Share your thoughts with us. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and also a number of radio stations across the country. On the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London television as well. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. This is The Key Point. My name is Alfred Akonsi. My guest will be joining me after this quick break. Stay with us.
All-in-one Nutrimix is truly milky.
this is the context in which the allegation must be understood. While Ghanaian households struggled with prolonged power outages, business closed, workers lost their jobs, and the economy suffered significant losses, there are allegations that individuals connected to the process were seeking private financial benefits from a transaction intended to address the country's power crisis. That contrast is profoundly disturbing. What is obvious is that what would ordinarily be concealed by the NDC government through the Attorney General's filing of nolle prosequi will be exposed on international plane, where there is no NDC government to prevent prosecution or arrange a charade of prosecution. Hence, the lack of deterrence, which has not only emboldened persons involved in such corrupt practices, but has also led to a pattern of embarrassment on the international plane. This point is very, very important. It's important to the extent that we notice a trend where the government is constantly protecting people who are involved in one corrupt practices or the other and connected to the NDC party through a charade of prosecution or not the filing of nolle prosequi or discontinuance to free them. They then become very emboldened to continue with the corrupt practices. These are persons who are connected with the NDC, but their conducts are constantly exposed on the international plane. And in no time, I'll show you a historical trend of how this has embarrassed Ghana.
Well, that's the NPP. They're addressing a press conference earlier this week, calling for an independent commission of inquiry or some sort of a probe into this particular AXA bribery scandal. And we have been looking at various aspects of this development over the last at least 1 week. But this is not the first time this matter is being discussed. Right from the 2020, or about when this matter was first reported, over the last 6-year period, there's been a lot of work. And now this man who is at the center of everything, Asante Kweku Bekom, has been convicted. He's awaiting sentencing. And so this was going to be happening. He's not been sentenced as yet. He's been convicted. We understand by the 10th of November, he would get to know exactly how many years he's going to be spending in prison. But he stands to possibly be slapped by 30 years. 30 years, that's the maximum sentence of a prison term regarding this particular offense that he has committed. But this is a man, a former Goldman Sachs executive, central coordinator in the United States case. They're saying that he arranged for a Turkish energy client, and this we know as AXA, to at least some, that's the company that he was trying to get into Ghana because of the situation that we found ourselves in, and also because of that position that he held at the time. And in fact, Goldman Sachs, as at the time, from the records that we have seen, had some 60% ownership of AXA at the time when this man, was working with them, and also thinking about this whole deal of AXA getting into the Ghanaian market right from 2015. $190 million in loans was what was being considered in this particular approach, in this whole transaction. And then the letters of credit was $75 million. That's what we saw as well, based on the publicly available documents. What we do know as well is that eventually Goldman Sachs saw some things that got them a bit uncomfortable, and they pulled out of this deal, right? And all of these issues that Goldman Sachs flagged, reason why they pulled out of the deal, would actually become the main reason for this probe that led to the conviction of this man, Asante Kweku Bekom. And he has a very interesting history with us as a country. I mean, right from 2015, that's when we heard of him, right? And his involvement in this entire transaction and what he did, what he used his personal emails to communicate, and upon his own plea, also admitted guilt. But this is a brief history of how we know him. Beyond this involvement in the AXA deal, this is a man who, in 2020, was appointed the managing director of the Tamale Refinery. But guess what? His tenure was short-lived, because by the 13th of April, exactly 3 months after his appointment as the Tamale Refinery boss, the United States filed this AXA bribery case against him. And so he had to resign the next day as top boss, and President Akufo-Addo accepted his resignation. So it was just a 3 month period. So you hear sometimes references made to him being the former top boss. This is this tenure, 3 months. And it was essentially as a result of this same case that has landed him this conviction and the imprisonment or the sentencing on the 10th of November. So this is how the path has been. But there are some dates that I want you to keep notice of as we go on, because it tells a story and specifically gives us a path that this case has traveled. And this morning, we're going to be asking a number of questions as to exactly how the investigation should be. And the NPP also, and others, and not just them, talking about the confidence in the process. We'll get into it. And the United States, very typical of them, used expressions to, as it were, describe certain persons. Ghanaian official 1, Ghanaian official 2. This is not the first time we're seeing this. See, because in previous instances where they've had to investigate international transactions involving Ghana, they have used such terminology, and we asked why. Some persons in the United States that I sought some explanation from sometime within the week to understand whether, one, the persons they describe as Ghanaian official 1, Ghanaian official 2, do they know the real identities of these people? The 5 people who traveled to Turkey, and which has now been confirmed at least by the former power minister's own statement from his lawyers, that there's a technical team that traveled to Turkey. And they said it's a routine travel. They had to go and do this. But in here, as we'll find later, these persons were paid given some $5,000 each, amounting to $25,000 to do some shopping and other things. Is that so established? Is that also routine? And what form should this investigation take to get that confidence that the outcome of the investigations by our side would be trusted by all? Okay, so those are the issues we're going to be looking at. But this is it. Take note of these dates. December 2014 is when the former power minister, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, was appointed as power minister. One of the many charges that the president, John Dramani Mahama, then gave to him was to quickly find solution to the crisis that we were faced with, the Dumsok crisis. And it's as a result of that this EPA, and for those of you who've had the opportunity to read the transcripts of the court regarding this particular case, the emergency power agreement idea was born, because we were in an emergency situation, if you look at it, and what had to be done to address it. That's when, in early 2015, this story began at the height of Ghana's power crisis. Government urgently needed additional electricity. Turkish company AXA Energy was pursuing an emergency power project of up to 370 megawatts. And at the same time, the man I just mentioned earlier, Asante Kweku Beko, was then an executive director at a major U.S. investment bank, was working on financing for the transaction. From the records, his bank stood to earn at about $11.3 million in fees if the deal succeeded. From December 2014 when Turkish company representatives, that's the AXA representatives, began meeting senior Ghanaian officials. Let's look at that. January 2015, the United States case says a meeting in Istanbul brought together Beko, that's Asante Kweku Beko, the company's representatives, and senior Ghanaian officials, and some other persons as well. So even before any major money could move, the first stage was about access, and which had to be established. Then in April 2015, based on the documents that were made available, an invoice of some $500,000 was issued. 5 days later, an intermediary wrote that he intended to give $250,000 of that said $500,000 to one Ghana official one. And I'm going to show you some of the persons mentioned in this as we go on. Ghana official one. Then on 20th April, another email carried a simple instruction that pay or Ghana official one. That was done. Let's look at April 2015. Same period, around the 24th of April, at about we understand 5 Ghanaian officials on this date, 24th April 2015, based on the publicly available document, 24th April 2015, 5 Ghanaian officials traveled to Turkey to inspect the equipment AXA proposed to use. Their flight was paid, their hotel bills were paid, and the prosecutors in this case are alleging that each official received $5,000 in cash, $25,000 in total. So take note of this. Fast forward to May 2015, the senior Ghanaian officials signed the power agreement. That same day, a second invoice, this time for $1.5 million, was issued. So take note of the coincidence. The same day that this power agreement was signed, same day, according to the prosecutors, some $1.5 million was issued, was alleged to have been paid. Major payments appear around this particular approval milestone. Fast forward to July 2015, this matter went to Parliament and it was approved. In fact, the prosecutors mentioned Parliament's committee in this particular issue and exactly what role they played in the process. Because as we do know, this deal had to go through a process from the Ministry of Power through Parliament, GRIDCO, PULC. They all played specific roles in how all of this played out. And that's why you see them mentioned in this deal. We'll get into it. Fast forward, this is what has now been the end of the case, as in his conviction. Now, the persons who have been mentioned in this particular deal is first the power minister, and not because he has received any monies, but some references made to the period that his tenure, when he was in office as minister. And let me put it on record that his lawyers have also written indicating that, one, he never met this Asante Kweku Beko, and two, that he did not take any money from him, even though within this period and that issue, he was the power minister. So that is also one that we have to put on record. If we are asking questions, whose report indeed, and who has to be invited, who has to answer questions, these are the major issues at play this morning. And these, based on the documents as we have publicly available, these are the monies that were said to have been paid to the persons and institutions mentioned in this report. These are, for now, the allegations as we have it. Although the U.S. have done and finished their part of this case, it is left to us to also then conclude on what we intend to do. These are parts of the transcripts. You know, the Attorney General has indicated that they are going to look into this. MPP says, no, stay away. IOCO, OSP have indicated they are going to look into this matter. I extracted this part of the transcript to read to you because it gives us an idea of how the path ahead of us will look. This is the personal email account of Kwaku Asante Beko, who is at the center of this. He says, and I quote, "Are you suggesting that we split cost incurred?" This one, he was having a conversation with a person who has been described as a consultant in this whole deal. "I don't understand your acceptances and rejections otherwise. PULC have so far received 120,000 CDs. $120,000. 100,000 from you and 20,000 from Asante. Each inspector that visited Turkey was given $5,000 on top of their flight and accommodation. Total expenditure was just over $45,000. The MOP girls," and this is another one we found, the Ministry of Power girls, we understand they were crucial to this deal. That these girls or women or, was it just a terminology to represent a particular group of people? What exactly was the duty of the MOP girls? We understand that they were made promises of $30,000 in total. That's 10,000 each. So that means that there were three girls involved in this. For them to be able to get the letters of credit. They received 20, as of this time that this email was being sent, this was sometime in 2015, these girls, MOP girls, Ministry of Power girls, had received $20,000 so far out of the 30. And this email goes on to say that these ladies are most vital to our communication and information acquisition. So, and this tells you now their duty in all of this. They were to get critical, vital information for these persons who were brokering the deal from the power ministry. So that when the power minister is having meetings, what are they saying? What's their thinking? What are their considerations? According to the prosecutors, and this is not, this is the face of the document as you see it. Based on this email, they say Parliament was all paid by Asante. He actually added another 10,000 on his last visit, as he had promised this to the guys. The whole 30,000 requested is due him. I know he paid more than that, approximately 46,000. So if you've listened to Kwabena Tariq Hammond, who was then the ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee around the same period that this deal was being considered, because the Parliament's committee was mentioned in here. It says they are not cheap. They won't take $46,000. They are worth more than that. But then again, questions need to be asked. These are allegations that are captured in here. Apart from that, they talk about the power team. We're very receptive that they started agreeing payments with them, and the payments were staggered and settled, as we have seen. There are a number of questions being asked right now as to exactly where should the investigative bodies be looking beyond these individuals that have been mentioned. Because these MOP girls that I mentioned to you, the power girls, they have identities which the United States knows. Because the reason why they will not mention their names is because they haven't had their day in court as yet. And so if our authorities request, the understanding we get is that they will give them that information. So it's not just the claim of Asante Beko. It's something beyond that. That is why they're able to establish guilt and convict him. The next person, this man was a deputy power minister at the time, but he has publicly indicated that the entire process was led by his boss, right? So then there is one, Francis W.K. Jatta. He was described in the transcript as the technical advisor to the Minister of Power at the time in 2015. Now, contemporary parliamentary records, as we have checked from other emergency power transactions, confirmed that he actually worked closely with the power minister at the time and was directly involved in technical power negotiations. Francis W.K. Jatta is mentioned in there as well. These are issues that we're going to be getting into this morning here on The Key Point. There are some persons who were actually consistent about this deal. And let me just put it on record. Right from 2015 till date, the footprints and investments of AXA as a company has grown exponentially. The last time we checked, yesterday, been running through tons of documents, clearly indicates how much this company has invested in this country's power sector. Over 1,500 of installed capacity. That's what they have here in Ghana. Out of the over 5,000 or so installed capacity, that 5,000 megawatts installed capacity that we have as a country, 1,500 megawatts and over is held and owned by AXA as a company. What should be the scope of this investigation? Should it be just with this particular issue at hand or others that continue? And bear in mind, after 2015, the subsequent administration also engaged AXA. There are a number of agreements that were signed as well. And the latest is just about last week. We saw a publication in a Turkish media outlet that AXA has expanded its footprints to over 1,500 megawatts of installed capacity. The latest is the over 800 megawatts gas-fired plant in Takoradi, just last week. Ben Boakye is Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. His institution has been consistent in talking about this matter right from 2015. I remember interviewing his boss, who is now a member of parliament and an immediate past finance minister, that is Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, on this matter in 2015. Ben Boakye is joining us on Zoom. Mr. Boakye, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred.
Thank you.
And good morning to other panelists in the studio.
Also joining us is Edem Senan, who's the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, taking a seat right now. Mr. Senan, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Also, thank you for coming. Also joining us is Justice Abdullahi. He is a legal practitioner. He is a lecturer. Good morning to you, Justice Abdullahi.
Good morning, Alfred, and good morning, Senan.
Kofi Ben.
And then I think
And good morning to
Ben is a mate and
see.
a brother.
Good morning, Justice.
Perfect.
Yeah, shame on you.
Okay. Also joining us shortly is Kofi Bento. He's going to take a seat right now. He is Vice President of Mining Africa. And then Martin Pibble. Martin Pibble is joining us on Zoom as well. Council, good morning. We'll connect with Martin Pibble shortly. But also joining us in a bit, Professor Ransford Jampo. He is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana. Also, the chief executive officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, joining us with his thoughts and the issues at play this morning. Martin Pibble, good morning. Hello, Council, good morning. Okay, we'll rectify that connection, but Professor Ransford Jampo is joining us right now. Prof, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to my colleague panelists here. It's been nice, good to be here once every 2 weeks, and the issues are always coming. In a developing country, every day, every week, you have new issues coming up, and that are worth discussing, in a democracy. Greeting to my shippers and greeting to my shipping lines, and we are working for you. The issue at the moment before us is the container administrative charges that we are trying to regulate. We've given directives, and then we expect shipping lines to comply, and we are working behind the scenes and giving the needed instructions and directives to them to ensure that they comply. And so, shippers, let's work together. Shipping lines, we are not in to be against you.
Right.
We are playing that middle role to ensure that we regulate the sector and to bring down the cost of doing business. So let's work together.
And I thank you very much. Also, Aloy Matipebo's his connection is clear now. Council, I can see you. If you can hear me, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we'll try to rectify that connection to Lawyer Martin Pebo. But hello?
How are you?
Morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Lawyer Martin Pebo, can you hear me?
Yes, this is what I can say. I can hear you. Good morning.
Perfect. Good morning. I see that the weather is taking a toll on you there. It's okay. But I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm very well. Very well, thank you. It's good to be back on Ghana's #1 talk show, as usual. I hope I can do the rituals. Let me get my seat well. Yeah, so thank you, the people of Ghana. Though I'm far away, it's exciting to be back here. Let's greet Sophie Kufuor Santua. Thank you for standing up. We hope we'll see more of you. It shouldn't be that because now you are no longer on the Council of State. That's the end of the engagement. The public will still want to hear your views on various matters of national interest. We'll go to Togbe Afede. Thank you, Togbe. More fire. You know, Togbe talks about capping the numbers on the Supreme Court so that you will not have the packing of the Supreme Court by each government that comes in. Maybe we should be looking at it again, right? And then Domahini Osiadeyo Ajimabedu the second. Thank you. Domahini, more fire. And Gamanche Kintakite Kuchu the second. Thank you. Men above 40. Another announcement that you should do the prostate check. Yeah, everywhere you see there is increased education on getting men to do the prostate check. We don't want to lose you needlessly. And of course, as you do the prostate check, please stop peeing by the roadside and other public places. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senor Jose as well is going to be joining us shortly. He is one of the leaders of the One Ghana movement, also a public policy analyst. He's an expert in this energy space, very close to the conversations and happenings around this matter around that time. And Mr. Boakye, I start off with you on this, especially because of your publicly stated position. And if I say you, the organization that you represent, when this matter came to the fore 2015, you had raised questions about this entire transaction. And then now this. If we're going to look into what went wrong, who has to answer what, where should we be looking at? Hello, Ben Boakye?
Can they hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I think that is a very loaded question. But we can hold those who contracted the power accountable for everything that has gone wrong. At the time, I mean, in our institution, we were clear in our minds that there was something amiss for the AXA contract on the basis that, I mean, we had an emergency situation, we needed power plants. So usually you go to the market and look for plants that are available. And the most available ones you get will be engines and used ones because it takes time to order brand new equipment. So if you are going for used ones, you really have to factor in the investment that the company would have made to procure those equipments and be able to do some basic checks to see how those equipments are priced on the market. And that helps you determine how much you should also be paying for those plants. When we checked and looked at the power plants that were assembled by AXA to bring to Ghana from Sri Lanka and other places, we saw power plants being procured for $1.2 million, $1.8 million. So they were essentially engines that were put together, about 20 of them, to get the 370 megawatt capacity. So if you do the math, we saw significantly lower investment. And yet, you had a contract that was signing up for a potential payment of $720 million. And the fundamental question is, if you buy equipment of those numbers we're seeing, roughly around $30 million, give and take. You paid bribes, you did installation, you bought land, everything to it, round it up to $100 million. On what basis do you come to Ghana and agree with the Ghanaian authorities that you will charge us $720 million over the life of the plan for 5 years? So the math didn't make sense to us, and that's why we kept criticizing and pushing back to see how we could go back to the table and also activate other processes. I mean, beyond the minister signing, constitutionally, the Parliament of Ghana is bound to do extra checks, gather evidence, question those who are negotiating on our behalf to actually make sure that there is savings for the Ghanaian public. And so that's why sometimes we make the noise trying to activate those structures to make sure that we can do proper due diligence and save the Ghanaian public some money. But it all amounted to nothing. And the contracts were approved as presented, and we end.
Oh, sorry about this. We'll rectify the connection to Ben Boachi. And Ben, you were on this path of establishing exactly what happened on these specific dates and why it is important. And you mentioned Parliament as well, and Parliament was mentioned in this. Some of the members of the committee at the time have also come out to indicate that they never met this gentleman in question, this man. They never took monies from him beyond the allegations that he has made, that some monies, and as I read directly from the transcript, some $46,000 was alleged to have been paid to members of Parliament or Parliament in that committee specifically. Alhaji Amadu Sorogo, who was then the chairperson of that Mines and Energy Committee, we spoke to him this week. He says he doesn't know anything about it. He's not met this man. And Adams Mutawakilo as well, who is the CEO now of the Ghana Water Company Limited, managing director, has also, denied meeting this person. And the Honorable K.T. Amon, who was then the ranking on this committee, has also indicated he never met this man. And guess what? He is now lawyer for Dr. Kwabena Donkor, as we do know, and both of them were on the committee, the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. I'm going to show it to you shortly. Mr. Boachi, you were on a point before I lost you.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, technology fails sometimes. Yeah, so I was making the point that you need these institutions to do the necessary checks to make sure that what the ministry is doing is right and it saves the Ghanaian public money. But that duty, really, Parliament failed on it and just approved what was brought before it, in spite of the questions that we had raised, in spite of the advocacy that had ensued. So to really see this case evolve as it has, it clearly tells you that there were factors that really drove, the nonchalance and the fact that you didn't get anybody to listen on this matter.
I see. But then you talk about Parliament failing, right? And I did indicate that even Goldman Sachs, and this is available in the transcripts, this is almost 100-page transcript, so you make some time, you understand the position that right from the beginning, Goldman Sachs itself raised concerns, right, about this transaction. They pulled out at some point, and the concerns they raised is also what actually formed the basis for this probe, right? What should Parliament have taken into consideration at the time in debating and considering this deal?
No, I think ultimately Parliament's role, we can debate whether they actually have the capacity, but if you spoke to the Parliament, the proposals on those, committee, Honorable K.T. Hammond and the rest who tout that they are energy experts. So you needed them to do the needful, the right job of examining the investment. Because in any model that an investor submits, you have to analyze how much they are pricing their equipment, and that informs you on the negotiations you do. So we may want to question Honorable Hammond and the rest who were to aid. I mean, on a committee, you wouldn't expect everybody to be an energy expert, but there are people who claim to be. And you needed them to do the needful, to support the committee. So what data did they have on the plans, the 20-year-old plans that were being brought into the country? What analysis did they do to show that there was value for money for Ghana, particularly when these are sole-sourced contracts? You needed some level of due diligence done to be able to aid, government position in the arrangement. But it was obvious that those critical work were not necessary to the committee, and that is what actually resulted in just approving the same thing that the investor wanted or provided through the ministry. And you check how Parliament work on these matters. In most cases, it is a day before the committee. So if somebody brings an agreement, a memo comes to Parliament, and the committee only has a day to go through it, there is no way you're going to be able to scan the market to see whether the plan was even available, listed somewhere. You can dig to see how much, like we did. We had to really dig the plans. If you put the engine numbers in Google at the time, you will see where the plans were coming from. And therefore, that aided you to know reasonably what the investor was putting in to help you negotiate. But the thing comes before the committee, and the same day they approve it, the report is written, it goes to plenary. The required standing order is suspended for the agreement to pass. There's so much a hurry. Say 3 years of doomsday can be solved overnight, right? And then you get a contract approved. It only makes sense when you hear a court say that people were just busy receiving money and didn't care about what the average person will pay for in Ghana ultimately.
I see, and you talk about the path, and this is it. When this went before the committee, you say that the same day when this report on the AXA deal, and by the way, the reason why it was so sourced was because it was in an emergency situation, right? We found ourselves in this doomsday all over the place trying to find solution to address it. But then the critical issue you raised is about the speed at which this ran through Parliament, correct? That when it came before the Mines and Energy Committee at the time, based on the records that you have referenced, it was approved on the same day. And then it went to plenary.
No, I must say that is not only a feature in the AXA contract. Check most of the high-value transactions that go to Parliament. Most of them get the same waivers. Order 81 or so gets suspended. I mean, that is an order that allows parliamentarians. For example, if my MP is not on the committee, Parliament's own standing orders says that when a report is laid before Parliament, it must be laid for at least 48 hours. And that allows an MP who wasn't on the committee to now look at the report, peruse it, satisfy him or herself that that report merits approval, and then it is debated. But once the Energy Committee looks at it and they brings it to plenary, they suspend the order that allows my MP to do also an additional check and be sure that all relevant questions are raised and then it's approved. So those were the order of the day. All the contracts, all big transactions get a suspension of Order 81 or so, and then it is approved at plenary. So if you have 20 members on the committee, what it means that the over 250 members are useless in actually understanding what went on at the committee level, except those who are at the committee level coming to plenary to convince everybody that it is worth approving, and it gets approved. And that is the practice, the standard practice in Parliament, where big ticket transactions get suspension of orders and committee bulldozes. So if you're able to compromise the committee, you are game, you are done. I mean, it will go through. And that is something that in our parliamentary practice, we need to really check to make sure that Parliament works as a body. You can't have every member of Parliament sitting on a committee to assess a contract, but every member has the right and need to have the opportunity to examine reports that come to plenary much more closely and contribute to it.
I see. And let me acknowledge the presence of Senor Osei, as I indicated earlier. He's just joining us right now. And in terms of this space and his understanding, a former CEO of the Ghana Bulk Oil Distributors and an advisor to the minister as well. And at every stage, when it comes to how some of these issues play out, really in the energy and power space, he has his footprints there. Senor Osei, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred. It's good to be here, and good morning to the people of Ghana. We all have one country to serve, and that focus must be the passion of every Ghanaian. And I hope today's conversation will be devoid of as much politics, and let's get practical about this. And this subject is a very sorry story. It's a story that seems to make both parties culpable, and at some point it gets people thinking whether our democracy is really being sold, and as to whether we're really getting true service from this duopoly we seem to experience politically in our country. Ghana deserves better.
Thank you for joining us. And Mr. Boakye, I do acknowledge that there are other issues you have to deal with this one. I just want to exhaust some of the questions here that you have just posed. So if any investigative body is minded and is looking into this, as IOCO and OSP have indicated, you think that they should be asking questions of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament?
Absolutely. I mean, no questions about that. We would need to perhaps do a checklist for the investigative body to actually consider, and we have to make sure that that is done. Across the spectrum, you saw people with technical capacity who are supposed to guide the process. So administratively, there are structures to check that these things don't happen. So you have Energy Commission, you have PURC, you have BRICO, you have VRA in some cases interested. And all these people are supposed to have a report on how these transactions happen. And we need to assess those reports. The team that went to Turkey to examine the plants, they have a report. We need to see that report and examine how they concluded on the plant, what examination they did, and what did they see, and what informed the recommendation to the minister to actually procure it. We may also want to find out from the minister what were the options available. Was that the only sole source contract on the table? And that was the reason why that was opted for. We need answers on that. And I've said that in this matter, the person who took 5,000 to, stop doing his technical job is as guilty as the person who took $1 million to sign it. Because if you had a technical report that says a minister cannot sign such a power plant, he can go ahead, but it's an evidence for the Ghanaian public to make clear judgment on what happened. So the technical people have a role. And at this point, you would expect that all that evidence is provided, an assessment done on that basis. What I struggle even to find is that, you see the numbers. Sometimes when you hear these transactions and the way they actually manifest, you assume that maybe a politician is making $50 million, $100 million out of those billions that we pay to power companies. But to note that, it was a paltry 1 million, some 250,000, some 50,000, some 20,000, some 5,000. And that is enough for a contract to be maybe 10 times what it's actually worth. Something is wrong with the Ghanaian thinking. I think we need to really identify what is wrong with the way we think.
It has, if so, established that indeed these persons took the monies as Antibeko mentioned. But then again,
No, but
you have,
no,
yes.
What I'm establishing here is that we know that the plants are expensive. That is established.
Yes.
But we are only trying to find what informs the thinking that makes it expensive. So the fact that the plants are expensive is not difficult to establish.
True. But
Right?
regarding...
What we're trying to link is what actually informed the thinking of leaders to get these plants this expensive. And that's what the court has provided evidence for.
Absolutely. On the 24th of April, 2015, this 5-member technical team that you talk about traveled to Turkey. And
you mentioned their names.
I'll come to you. And I know you have the names. So because the identities of the 5-member technical committee is not mentioned in this report. As you do, we've seen redacted some of the identities for good reason, because we have to do our job on our side as well. But K.T. Hammond, within the week when we spoke to him, indicated their trip was routine. This is something they do to go and assess, whatever is happening there in Turkey, what exactly the state of the plant is, and then they put together a report and bring it. What is certainly one that flags and brings up matters of questions as to whether their trip is supposed to be paid by the government of Ghana or whichever consultancy was engaged in this transaction, whether they are per diems and so on. This 5,000 that's alleged to have been paid to all of them, $5,000, $25,000 in total, should have even been in the question at all. When I was saying that their trip was routine, you were shaking your head in disagreement. Why is that? That's according to K.T. Hammond.
It's not a casual exercise. It's not for nothing. I mean, these are technical people. They assume to be the competent elements within the setup to go and assess the plant and advise the minister on it. The assumption is that the minister may not be an engineer. He may not be the technical person to even understand the state of the plant. Even if you turn on the engine, at what decibel would you classify as a sound engine? The minister may not know. So you send technical people to go do their job, understand how the plant looks like, whether it's refurbished, whether it's so old, whether it cannot, generate power, or even when they turn it off, it shut down almost immediately and raise questions. So it's a technical job. It's perhaps the most important job to be done before the signing of the agreement. So it's not just a routine thing, as if it is nothing important. It's one of the most important things to do before a contract is signed. So it is important to know what informed it. Did they know the age of the plant, for example? Did they know how much was being quoted by the project developer, and whether the plant they saw actually merited the money that they were claiming for themselves? That is the technical work that they needed to do. And Parliament needed that report as well to be able to make judgment of it. And in most cases, even when it goes to Parliament, you don't see that report accompanying. You see a memo, and then you see the contract itself, the agreement, go before Parliament, and not these kind of technical details. That then helps the committee to do further checks on whether it is worth considering.
And talking about technical committee's report, I recall that one of the issues you raised at the time when I spoke to you way back in 2015 was the cost of the power as was contained in the contract at the time, or the agreement at the time. And how much exactly was Ghana being charged in this AXA deal for a kilowatt at the time? And why did you have issues with that?
Yeah, so as I indicated, you have a very old power plant. The reason why you are opting for a very old plant is perhaps you want the tariff to be cheaper. At the same time, you want to address the emergency question. So that should inform how much you pay for the plant. So the capacity charge alone was about 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay. All right, so you do the math, plus the variable charge cumulative, you're doing 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour. For a 370 megawatt plant, that's about $720 million that you are signing up to pay in 5 years. If you assume that the plant will not operate optimally, and therefore some contractor failure will happen, you can discount by maybe 20%. You are still paying around $600 million for the power plant. All right, so you have to do the math that way, and then be able to compare how much potentially they acquire the plant for, how much land are they going to pay for land, all the installation costs, commissioning, and the EPC work that will be done, and then be able to assess whether what the investor is asking is optimal to do. And when we did the math, it was not right, because we knew where the plants were coming from. And we worked with people in the system that were not happy with the kind of plants that we were procuring and the fact that it was expensive. And I remember someone even telling me, an engineer telling me that they were not sure that plant, if you put it to test for a continuous run as a base load for 2 months, that plant can survive it. So the plant came in, and in fact, if you check how it has performed, it has become a picking plant. In fact, for the first 5 years, almost 6 years that the plant existed in Ghana, it was utilized 16% of the contracted capacity. So 60% of the time that it was contracted. So in most cases, we just paid and you never use the plant.
Right. And no, Senor, what do you want to say?
No, what Ben just said, I think you should repeat it. About the level of utilization.
What I'm saying is that if you track the record, this is public record from Energy Commission.
Yes.
The energy that was generated from the plant over the contracted period was 16% of the time that it was supposed to generate power.
16%.
But we paid 100% of the
But at the time,
charge.
had we paid 100%
Absolutely.
of the capacity
Yes,
charge?
because it was take or pay.
But that they were delivering 16% in capacity.
16% of the time. So it was either there was no fuel for it and it was idle, or it was excess capacity. So it had to stay idle for that period.
Now, Ben, I
And it
understand.
wasn't also the most efficient plant. It wasn't the most efficient plant. So if you do merit order dispatching, it will be the last to dispatch. So you always dispatch the most efficient ones, the ones that uses fuel better, before you come to those that are less efficient. And it was one of the inefficient ones. So you have to dispatch it as last resort.
This plant was classified inefficient. How do you mean?
No, so in power systems, every plant uses fuel differently. There are those that can use a milligram of either gas or liquid to generate higher electricity than others. So you always want to give your fuel to the plant that can give you more electricity. It's not that the plant is bad, but you prioritize the plants like the ones that are using gas, the ones that are combined cycle, to be able to generate more electricity so that you optimize your fuel. So you always have a schedule of the most efficient to the least efficient. And then you apply your fuel accordingly. And when you did that, AXA was in the bottom of that table.
Very interesting detail there. And let me acknowledge the presence of Kofi Bento, Vice President of Money Africa. Mr. Bento, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred.
He's a private legal practitioner as well, and other things.
Yes, I'm Senyor's friend. That makes me a very bad boy.
But he's one of the revelations of this show.
Indeed.
Honestly, I think it was a brilliant decision for production to make him a critical feature of this platform.
And
honestly,
thank him for making the time.
I'm really excited, and Ghana is just better to always have you here.
Hey.
Good to see you, my brother.
I owe you, brother.
Small.
Right now, Mr. Boachi, I got some information that you chaired the renegotiation of some public, that's the power purchase agreements, PPAs, with the independent power producers when this government assumed office and constituted a committee to review those IPPs, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you make any savings when this AXA deal was renegotiated?
Yes. So, the negotiations were at two levels. Were to look at the existing debt that had accumulated, and then also forward-looking what savings we can make on the power plant. On the AXA one, it had virtually been concluded. The renegotiation concluded on the other side before we came in. But we just had to focus on the debt and be able to reduced the debt by about $27 million haircut for AXA. So that was essentially what we did. They had already given some rebate, I think about 1.8 cents or so. I have to check the numbers again on that. So that rebate had already been given to the government before the extension of the agreement beyond the 5 years.
I see. Ben, thank you very much for this. And I needed this foundation for us to build on this conversation because of his direct involvement in one, right from the onset, raising issues about this and some questions as well. And then also his involvement as the chair of the committee that renegotiated some of these agreements, including this particular one, and some savings that were made. Ben, stay with me.
But Alfred, one quick point on that. I think for those agreements, those negotiations, we had to recognize that we had a binding agreement, barring any evidence that bribes were paid or something untoward happened during the signing. You just needed to look at the agreement to see what rebate the company can give you, because you signed it. You are not blind. You signed the agreement, and you come back to the table to say that I cannot pay, so give me rebates. So it was just purely on that good faith negotiation that we could actually get some rebates on those agreements. It was not to go into litigating with the contractors on the numbers that ministers signed. We were just to look at the agreement as had been signed
So
to
Ben,
actually
I'm wondering,
plead with the companies for some rebate on their tariffs.
Ben, I was wondering, was there any clause that suggested that if any form of corruption was identified subsequently, we would have the opportunity to, as it were, reconsider the entire, was there any such clause that you could, we could fall on?
I want to go back to the agreement to go and check. I have to check
But
that one.
I don't think that's consequential. It's inconsequential. Either way, fraud vitiates everything.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to have that in contract.
Okay.
The point being that
Yes.
if the committee identifies that something untoward happened, then that smacks of fraud or anything fraudulent, there could even be a basis for the entire contract to be set aside. Not just renegotiate. It could set aside the entire contract. And so that would have been a window if indeed something of the sort happened or was identified.
So to that extent, it means that at this point, there is evidence that allows us to look at it again, isn't it? No?
You've gone too far, you're caught by equity.
Which is, even though correct, but debatable.
It's debatable.
Correct, but debatable.
So it's not automatic.
Yeah.
So it's not automatic, but we could. So it's something we should be examining.
Yes,
Absolutely.
All right.
I see.
It's worth examining.
Or you can make a case for refunds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's if you succeed in proving that
I think the lawyers have
indeed
answered your
these
question.
payments.
Okay. Now, so he was in the process of answering that.
Sorry.
Yes, Ben. On the matter of yes, Ben. You conclude on that.
I was saying that the lawyers have answered you.
Please
Yes.
speak, you are an expert. Speak.
I think on the issue Kofi mentioned, if indeed it turns out that we're able to trace these payments to the signing, that indeed they influenced the signing, this entire contract can be set aside. And then, if need be, re-establish a relationship with AXA or completely take steps to recover our losses.
In this particular agreement.
In
Because
almost every single
anyone-
agreement, not just this particular
No, so that's
agreement.
what's
Every
going
single
to come into, because what should be the scope of this investigation we're looking at? Because AXA, beyond this emergency power agreement, has quite a number of agreements as well with ECG and with the government of Ghana, right from 2015 to date. The latest being just about a week or two ago in the Takrady, the gas-powered one as well. So the scope of the investigation, that's an issue that we'll want to get into. But there's enough basis to go into it. And I'll start off with you on this.
Yes, so I'm delighted that the lawyers have pointed out that there is that possibility and something to be explored, because this is a major scandal. I mean, and the dimensions, the dimensions cover, I mean, just looking at different groups, special advisor, minister, consulting company that 1.5 million, and I would like to know the name of that consulting company because they exist, they will have directors. The MOP girls, where we are assuming MOP means Ministry of Power. There's Parliament, there's a power team. MOP girls. Yeah, MOP girls, it's all there. It's in the context. So it tells you that this is a multifaceted thing. And the gap, as Mr. Boakye has pointed out to us, where the estimation is about $100 million, yet what we went for was $720 million. About $620 million lost.
Yeah,
this is something. It's more than that.
We didn't even use the plant much.
No, I mean, this definitely involves, and I think we should have as many groups involved. I mean, I've heard about a commission of inquiry, but Ghana's passed with commissions of inquiry, plenty of talk. After that, not much action. That's
because you don't understand the concept of commission of inquiry.
Is it understanding or how it is being utilized here?
Please conclude on the point.
So, in my view,
yes,
like he said, who signed the contract? Who advised them to sign the contract? What are the institutional state institutions that were supposed to provide the checks and balances to ensure that we didn't get here? If they failed, how do we make sure this does not repeat itself? Because to me, it's not so much about what has transpired. It is about making sure that those who've made us get here are held accountable, and let's prevent it for the future. And I'm wondering how we learn, whether we are learning society, whether we are actually taking those steps. That for me is critical. Otherwise, we'll keep having these shows where we come and talk, and yet the future is not protected. And for me, that's it. How can we learn from this, hold people accountable, but prevent repetitions for the future? So the institutions that failed, whether it is technical committees, whether it is parliament that failed, we need to dig into those areas and establish at what point did we fail to take the necessary, especially when we had groups like ASEP raising the red flag from the beginning.
But Ben, you want to talk about the cost side of things.
Yes, I just wanted to make my last point before I go. I mean, what we do, we just try to help make sound decisions. Maybe we should agree, if what politicians want is just 1 million and they can do a good job, can we agree to give it to them and save a lot more money than just taking 1 million and allowing a foreign company to come and milk us the way they do? It's really sad to look at. And we don't even show interest. If you look at this case, it's becoming topical now. But you trace the chronology of things. There was a civil case that was ruled on way back in 2020.
And I think some settlements were made, right?
A settlement was made, $275 million dollars was paid by Beacon. He didn't even litigate it. He paid 50,000 interest on that. So over $325 million he paid to settle the SEC, the SEC, on the same matter. Ghana showed no interest. The same evidence was on the table. He didn't litigate it. He didn't protest. He didn't deny. But the state Ghana was never interested in the case. And then DOJ also took up the case and eventually convicted him of criminal offenses. So it shows that we have not been interested in this matter at all as a country. So I don't know where the renewed interest will come from and what we need to do to make sure that we get to the bottom of this case. Because if you're estimating the cost, it's not the 720 or the 620 that we are talking about. Remember also that paying AXA and all the power plant, in some instances, we have to borrow cedi to dollar to pay them. When the IPP is threatened, we have to go to the market to go and borrow and pay them. Ultimately, Ghanaian citizens got haircut for the borrowings that had been done. We went to Eurobond to go and borrow money and paid IPPs with it. The interests are still piling up, 8%, 9%, 7%. All of that has to be estimated to track the true cost of these kinds of decisions that have been made against the Ghanaian public. And if you did that estimation, you are running into billions of dollars. And plus the fact that industry didn't even get the power to even utilize. It's quite horrendous how we get ourselves into these kinds of situations. But hopefully there is room to look at these things much more closely and carefully. And we may have to engage more with the government to see what systems we can put in place to avert these kinds of negotiations and contracts and provide cheaper power for industry and citizens.
And Prof.
I just want to find out or tell Ben that maybe like Martin has been saying about the Office of Special Prosecutor, that when Ofori-Atta was absconded, he should have shouted. Maybe, ASEP, Ben, you were not shouting enough. I mean, listening to you and the kinds of things that you were saying, if policy makers and decision makers fail to listen to you, then it saddens me. Maybe you are not saying much enough.
In defense of Ben, so I was.
I think people don't hear.
Hello, Ben. Ben, let me speak for you.
I think people don't hear when we are shouting. I think that's really the point.
I'm not shouting
from
enough.
2015,
Yeah.
from 2015 all the way through the extensions. If you Google and put AXA, you will see all of them popping up. Statements,
So let me add
press conferences.
This is one of the reasons why we did Dumsoma Stop. I was one of the lead organizers. Ben and Co, Ben Imani, and a number of us we were aware of all the crimes that were being committed concerning power. And we kept talking, nobody minded us. So we actually organized Dumsoma Stop. This was one of the cases. And those times, the thinking was they will talk and they will stop. And they will go ahead, the politicians will go ahead. This is one of the reasons why the previous government was voted out. And this is why they say we have short memories. In those days, the corruption was in your face. And Ben, myself, Imani, many other, Kosaka, we kept saying it, they just didn't mind us. So we had to go on the street. This is one of the reasons why we did Dumsoma Stop.
I see. Well, Ben, I know you have to leave us, but there was now the need for. Sorry, we lost that connection to Ben Boachi. We'll try and reconnect with him. But Lawyer Martin Bibu is on with us as well. Earlier in the week, questions
NDC
were
that was
asked.
voted out. The caption is wrong. One
Yes,
of the reasons
okay,
why
yes.
NDC 1 was voted out.
We'll
not
correct that. Ben, there was a need now to look at, the cost side of things, as you mentioned. That's why this committee that you headed. Sorry, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. On the matter of the cost, there was a need to look at it again. That's why last year, the ministry, this current Minister of Energy and Green Transition, put together the committee that you headed to review the cost of some of these IPPs, correct?
Hear me? I lost you briefly. If you can.
Your connection is quite unstable, but is it? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can hear you, yes.
Great. I was saying that on the matter of the cost, there was a need to look at it again. That's why this committee that was put together by this minister, that's John Jinapo, was established last year, which you headed, correct?
Yes, I mean, the minister looked at the payment. So it was not just on the tariff itself. We were also looking at the outstanding debt. So the minister assessed that, I mean, government needed to pay, but we couldn't pay all at the same time. We also needed the IPPs to be stable and be able to pay, to generate power. So we needed to go into a good faith negotiation to look at how much debt was outstanding, how much haircut we can actually give. Remember also, this negotiation had been on for more than almost 7 years. Consultants had received over $25 million and still couldn't finish the negotiation. So we're to wrap up that and make sure that we clean up the power sector debt and allow the sector to sustainably survive. So that is what we were trying to do, plead with them essentially, because we were not judges to look into criminality. We were just to look at what we are signed up for, what savings we can make, and also how we reduce the existing debt and allow finance ministry to pay. So we had a framework to work quickly, and within 3 months it was done, made $250 million savings on that outstanding debt, and also cumulatively reduced the forward looking by $7 billion. So we did what we could on good faith basis. But if the tariff that we are paying is too high because of corruption, that is a different matter. That requires a new a process to look at those matters.
And who paid those $25 million? And how did that even come about?
That was MPP.
Regardless, I mean, Ben, can you hear me? Hello, Ben.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I was asking which consultants were paid $25 million, and for what
Yes, I
purpose
can
were
hear
they
you.
paid, and who paid those $25 million, and how did they not complete whatever exercise they were assigned?
Multiple consultants. There were multiple consultants led by White and Case, UK. I mean, Senor knows the background. We presented a proposal to the minister to appoint us to do the job for free. And then they ended up giving to a consultant and paid those monies over time. And eventually we had to come and do it for free again. So those are separate matters that we can look into. So thank you very much, Alfred.
Sorry, what did you do again? And what did the consultants do for the $25 million?
Now, it's yes.
Ben.
I think you said he wasn't paid for that. Thank you.
Ben, what did the consultants do again for the $25 million?
They were supposed to do the same thing: negotiate a reduction of tariff, remodel payment terms and structure, and that. And they stayed on forever. I think that's what basically it. And once they were paid by the hour, there had to be money going every hour they stayed on the job.
I see. Ben Boache, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, extensive engagement in this particular issue. I needed that that background to this. And Ben is going to stay with us. There are a lot more issues we'll have to respond to, but clearly, on the
this should be the center for this entire discussion.
No,
I mean,
no,
we shouldn't even delve into other matters.
No, we will delve into other matters.
It's just
We will
unbelievable.
delve into other matters. We had to tackle these areas to bring clarity because there's been a lot all over the place, and now there's some understanding of how things played out. And Mr. Bento, quickly, and then also to you, typical of the United States. I mean, the questions this week when I asked, we had a conversation on the side sometime within the week that as to whether now that OSP, EOCO say they are getting into outside of things because the U.S. has wrapped up its work essentially. Conviction has been secured, sentencing on November 10, but these persons named senior Ghana official 1, Ghana official 2, at the time you held the view that because of the threshold of criminal cases we must establish beyond reasonable doubt, we may have some challenges, if we have to rely on what has been publicly available now. But the U.S. knows the identities of these people, isn't it? Because it cannot just convict Asante Beko.
Fact number one,
on his
the
opinion.
U.S. knows the identity of these people. Fact number two, the Ghanaian authorities know the identities of these people. Let me explain. The previous MPP government is the one that worked with the U.S. authorities in this matter to get this conviction that we are getting of Beko. And they worked throughout. And when they left office, they handed it to the present AG and OSP. They supplied the information and other details. So they know all the details. One of my pains is that we have suffered this thing. And like Ben is saying, in those days, you see, we forget. We were occupied Ghana all the way and we did Doom Summer Stop. We were screaming ourselves hoarse because we saw people benefiting from our chaos and nobody cared. Afterwards also, look, this scandal in my estimation is worth $500 million of loss to the country. The plant, and the irony was that you could tell just looking on the internet where they were being sourced from and their cost. Second-hand plants, they cobbled them together. Okay, now, and then we paid in excess, and Ben is telling you how little of it we used. Subsequently, there were many suggestions that we had paid for all kinds of things we're not using, the take and pay, etc. My point is, Ghana suffered this loss. Every Ghanaian suffered part of it. All right? We also had the information about what had gone on. The people were in this country. Our leaders did nothing. It was the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which felt that this is too bad. And it turned out that the gentleman involved had a dual citizenship. So they had a hook on him. And they went after him. The company is a Turkish company. Okay. So my point is, don't think they don't know. They know it. We suffered it. We paid for it, both in cash and in other means. Okay. As we speak, they have the information. We didn't do anything about it then. We don't seem to be doing anything about it now. Adam was asking a very interesting question. So can't we get our money back? And my brother here explained to him, fraud vitiates everything. Now, we went in...
Just for education purposes.
Yes.
Vitiation meaning what?
It cancels everything.
Okay.
So we could use that to go and cancel. But having accepted the deal, our officials who were properly authorized signed on it, and we've used it, even though underused it all this while, and we have renegotiated it. Even though Ben and Co went in, they renegotiated it and we got a better deal.
Yes.
It means in tree, a friend of Shehain, in law, we call it laches and acquiescence. We have accepted the people have cheated us, but we've taken it on. So we've lost some legal ground. However, we can still go on, and if we can determine that indeed these frauds happen, the country was cheated, A, B, C, D, E, all these things went on, we can, as a country, demand some refunds. If AXA wants to continue to do business. In fact, some of us were aware of the renegotiations, and our only confidence was that Ben was involved. And at the end of the day, what they were able to negotiate was good enough compared to others. So there was no point in telling them to go away.
Yeah.
But the past still is not washed away. We lost about $500 million. Some people became rich over it. Every one of us paid a bit of it. So they know these people, and I think that they must be more definite, deliberate, and more, passionate about finding the answers.
Well, I mean, if OSP, Yoko said they also helped, as you have indicated, the United States authorities.
Mainly the AG's department.
In convicting Asante Beko.
Yes.
It's now time for them to return the favor, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
If we're investigating outside of things.
And I had not detected any resistance from their part. In fact, the point I'm making is the Americans are more passionate to find the culprits and punish them than we, the people who suffered it. So I don't think the Americans are going to resist supporting us. Question is whether we are going to do it. Last week, I ripped and ranted about this, and then we saw notices that they were going to do so. I think I need to see more passion. And like Adam is saying, there's a lot of room for us, to maybe demand some refunds.
Senor is an advisor to the Energy Ministry. I want to find out what kind of advices.
Very, very important.
You were there.
Yeah. Because I was wondering the special advisor.
Did you drop time? Clear yourself.
So if you're a special advisor, we need to understand what is the role of the special advisor.
I'm his lawyer, please.
What kind of special advisor do you have?
I am very privileged to have worked with possibly the past 5 or so energy ministers as a member of the advisory board. Of course, my primary focus has been on the petroleum downstream side. And where required, we've participated in the conversations around the policy issues also relative to power. Of course, I wouldn't be part of this entire engagement. But we're very concerned about the cost of power. And I try to bring that to bear at every point in time. That whatever it is, you're in an emergency situation, that is important to recognize. And truly speaking, you pay a premium for it. How much should that premium be? It cannot be 10, it can't be 300, 400, 600% the premium. Absolutely not. I mean, rule of thumb, around 20, 30% a premium on that. It's relatively understandable. Maximum maybe a 50% premium on that. See, when you are negotiating power, you must actually fix it in your broader economic policy plan. You need power to sustain your economy. You want to trigger industrialization. Absolutely. So if your cost of power is so high, how are you actually going to be able to achieve your economic transformation? You just achieve some kind of economic survival because you're just thinking about residential usage and all. But so every time you must be thinking about it. Unfortunately, we've not really had strong policy analysis backing our policy decisions in this country in a very long time. So this kind of thorough thinking has been absent, and I think that in our management of that particular thing, it was totally absent. Having said that, coming to this issue, it's a very depressing matter. You have, forgive me for the lack of a better expression, but I really need to be able to drive home the story. You have an MPP man, allegedly, now actually convicted. So, it's no more an alleged matter. Bribe, said to have bribed an NDC government official. All right, and then
It's not said to.
MPP comes into power. Yeah, MPP comes into power, and this guy gets an appointment. And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. I think yourself and Imani and a number of people in 2023, I mean, after this Ebeku thing started coming up, you made some requests on the Ministry of Energy
And ECG.
and ECG. And the government refused to cooperate. And this is the MPP government refusing to cooperate with the transparency required to exorcise this scandal.
And others.
And others. Oh, yeah. All right. And now you have an NDC government, which is actually led by the same president who was there at the time.
And was driven out because of some of these.
And was actually also kicked out because of some of these. All right.
Causes, yes.
Then the voices you are even hearing quickly to start defending the matter are even becoming more MPP than NDC.
Bipartisan mess.
I beg you, what price did you guys take to sell Ghana? It's a joke. Guys, this your nonsense NDC MPP. It's inconsequential. It's about Ghana. It's about the lives of our children, our children's children. It's not the game. It's about the sustenance of democracy itself. How will people sustain confidence in democracy when you have this kind of thing playing out? Let's not deny the fact that it is obvious that there were favorable terms that were realized by AXA. What motivated that? I can't say for substance, but today the US is proving to us that there were incentives. It's possible that maybe Belkun was also using it to extract money from the people or not. But the people were willing to pay.
And it's possible the US
And they paid. You understand? But those of us sitting here at the table of policy, we know the workings of government. Even government institutions have to pay parliament sometimes, or not say pay parliament. I mean, incentivize parliamentarians through all kinds of programs for them to even get their budget appropriations happen. We've heard even the judiciary complain about it before. So let's not speak as if the thing is happening as some weird thing. The thing sounds very regular to everybody's ear. That's the honest fact.
Right.
But when you have things like this happen,
it's regular to have girls allegedly in the ministry getting information and being paid for it.
My wife is about girls. I don't know what MOP is. This part I don't understand. Ministry of Power. Girls have been promised 30K in total, 10K each when we get the LC. I mean, it is again. You see, we lack a lot of dishonesty here. Me, I don't know how to do it too much. Sometimes we all have to manage the face, but the truth is, I can't. It doesn't sound abnormal. Businessmen will always do this. They are looking for information. Businessmen will always do this. Lobbyists will always do this. And you keep friends in these places of policy because you want to capture information. Politicians do this. Why? How do you think we get leakages? That a ministry is doing something, and all of a sudden, some MP somewhere, some former minister is holding some documentation. Everybody has somebody there. Everybody here too has some friends in any ministry, true or false. Don't you have friends? As to what you do, I don't know. I'm saying we all have friends. You understand? So I mean, it's not. There's nothing here that's abnormal in the workings of Ghana's dealings. This story about whether Parliament was incentivized or not incentivized, everybody knows it's public secret.
Well, some members of the committee have come out to say they don't know.
Who has given bribe and collected receipts before?
From any
who has collected bribe and given receipts before? But a few ones have happened before. I remember somebody went to collect bribe and signed receiving their money. Foolish politician. But it has happened before. But honestly, when we are selling the soul of our country for such a pittance, it tells you the quality and the state of our democracy. This conversation for me is not AXA. It's about the governance and the sustainability of Ghana's democracy. When you have high tariffs, illegitimate tariffs like this, it is a tax on the households of every Ghanaian.
Including the person.
It is a tax. That guy has collected it, so he has received the money to pay the tax. That tax, we pay for it in higher tariffs. This corruption in the energy sector is a tax on the average Ghanaian. That cocoa seller who has to go and still still get his light on. That ice water seller who has to freeze the ice water and pay electricity for it. It is a tax on them. We pay for it through higher tariffs. We pay for it through doomsday and outages. We pay for it through debt. And we sit here and wonder why we are struggling with economic transformation when we are having leakages and wastages like this. You understand? This matter has only one path. We have heard politicians come to say no. All right? Mm-hmm. We've also had the US process coming to establish that, yes, as for AXA paying is not in dispute at all. The part that is in dispute today is whether the politicians supposedly received it or not. Their conduct reflects somebody who received it because of their speed. But they can also say it was because of the urgency. Mm-hmm. It was a dumb thing to ever hear anybody try and suggest that it was a routine visit. What the heck? You go and you are supposed to be a former minister. I think that Ketia Momodu hasn't done himself good justice. All right? And he should revise his notes and speak well. He's a former minister. He swore the oath to this country. I'm embarrassed by his submission. Parliament is a critical feature of our governance structure. It's supposed to be a major check to the executive. This is clear culpability. You go and you say it's just a routine. Routine what? Most of the time, you have a lot of these things happen. I can't say it happened here or not. Our politicians will travel on these trips, and then most times, we all know the thing. The energy is not in trying to solve the matter or understand the issues or to investigate the matters thoroughly. It's to go and get shopping. Because people sit there, people are looking for, having said he has done that or not done that. But we all know the workings of government. A lot of these times, this is what the people do. When this case, the American case was even being investigated, didn't this same kind of matter come up? Do you remember?
Absolutely.
You end up and it is shopping that somebody is thinking of. People going with their laptops. Those who technically understand laptop, you know it. I can't say anything beyond laptop. Not computer, but laptop. Yes. You understand? So there's nothing that, if you know Ghana's workings, that has been said in this whole matter that is strange. But still, you must give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. The only way to resolve this is to have a clear public inquiry. And I agree with Ben. We must get on the technical side as well. What were the technical reports? Who validated this? What was the basis? Was it legitimate? And I know some of the engineers, very competent people. As to why this happened or not, I think they deserve a hearing on the matter. The Ketia Momodu and his people who went at that time. And Ketia Momodu, was he chairman of the ranking member, I guess?
No, he was the ranking at the time.
It was the ranking, yes. It was ranking.
He said it was standard due diligence.
It's standard due diligence, and that's correct.
Yes.
I won't take it as routine, but what does standard mean?
He said it was standard due diligence.
No, what does standard mean? They should tell us the itinerary they deployed. He should submit to us his prepared notes for it, and he should tell us the notes that he actually gave. Because you see, as an opposition, you are the lead checker on behalf of the entire country. You understand? Because the executive is the executive. We vote for them to become executive. But we also vote for our opposition to put a check on the executive. And we trust that that's what they will do. So when you go there and take it as standard, and you are supposed to be the experts, and Ben and Co, and you're not experts, you should go to procure the resources of the expertise required. Because you see, don't worry, parliamentarians say they went. And they have gone.
They should stop going.
Yeah, I'm saying they say they have gone. I agree with you that maybe they should stop going. You have gone. You are a party. And this is the embarrassment with Ghana's politics. Our parties have become election machines to facilitate people's corruption. They are not major policy houses. Because if you're a strong policy house and a matter like this is coming up, you should have your own network of technical people who should be able to give your party guidance on how to advocate on a given matter. Do we have it? For the most part, no.
We don't use it.
We don't. You will see all people show up around their parties when there's an election and it's gone. Tell me, who apart from an MP sitting there, who is properly the MPP alternate technical voice on power? Tell me. To come up with proper policy analysis, none. You understand? Please, Kojo Poku is not. Yeah. You understand? I mean, he was running his CSO, and we give him respect and all the work is done there. Where's the policy house?
Okay.
You understand? Look, this thing must end one way. John Mahama, it started with your regime. If your appointees failed you, don't fail Ghana this time. This is a time for you to clean up your own name. We must have a public inquiry, a thorough inquiry. Even if you have to appoint a proper sole commissioner that people can trust. Let's make sure we use this as a turning point to re-engineer our governance structure. And this thing comes to one thing: political financing. And I like what Asiedu Nketia said. And I appreciate that man so much. It's one of the most one of the realists you have. Some may not like the way he speaks, but he's real. If we do not deal with political financing and actually the economic risk of politicians, corruption will go nowhere. Those parliamentarians, when they leave government, which of us here will hire them? We won't hire them because we don't want to be tainted. In quotes. So how will these people survive? That is why, for a pittance, decisions that affect generations are taken for granted. And a decision of possibly 100 million or 75 million will become 750 million.
Thank you, Senor. Lawyer Martin Pebu, you can hear me bringing you on at this point on what you heard from Ben so far, what the Office of Special Prosecutor has indicated, the work that they have already done.
Sorogo sent me a message. He said he never went.
Amadou Sorogo.
Yes.
He was the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee at the time.
And I repeat, he says no MP, as far as I am aware, went to Turkey. So who went? This is what he said. It is an insult to take $46,000 on behalf of 18 MPs, and I agree with him.
So, no, this message is from Amadou
Alhaji Sorogo.
Okay.
For him to $46,000, there's no way you will have to pay $46,000 for this. It's a serious contract. $46,000 for 18 MPs. My guy, you don't understand the thing.
There must be clear evidence to trigger our own accountability. Questions as well, Council? Council, I can't hear you. If you could repeat the point again.
Yeah, I said absolutely. I mean, there is more than enough wealth of evidence for us to trigger our own. I thought, so we've actually gone past that first step because Iyoko says they are looking into it. OSP also says they are looking into it. So that's the right way to go. But now I'm also hearing the public asking for a public inquiry. You see how these are laws work? I think even though on paper, we can do the public inquiry and still go ahead with the criminal prosecutions, because our systems are weak. There is a small, let me say, gray area in the commissions of inquiry, CI, that if you do the public inquiry and they bring any evidence there, right? You cannot use that evidence to prosecute them. That's these persons we are asking here and there. The people we are talking about, government official 1, presidential relative, government official 2, all the people. When we bring them before a commission of inquiry, after they've spoken, we cannot use that same evidence to now go into the criminal court to prosecute them. The law says we have to find our own independent evidence. So, and that's why if you are not careful, you remember the Ghana at 5010, Reku Brobe, Kojum Pienim, etc. Even though at that time that was under the old law, but the moment they went and testified before the Commission of Inquiry, they practically got immunity. We couldn't prosecute. Later, we clarified the law to show that the CI, Commissions of Inquiry, we can find our own independent evidence. But what I'm saying is that if you let these people come and talk, and a lot of the things they say are also in our own independent evidence, they will say, no, it is what they brought to the commissions of inquiry that we have used against them. So I think at this stage, we will be better served by holding on. The commission of inquiry under Article 278, etc., would not help us practically at this stage. Rather, it's going to set the stage seriously for people to escape with murder. Yes, people will escape because of the practical challenge I've mentioned. So for now, let's see how we can get Yoko, and I'll trust Yoko more because, and I like what Professor Jampo said, that just like I started crying that, why couldn't Kissi Agyabeng shout when Ofori-Atta was fleeing? You see this matter, Martin Amidu says he started investigations on it. Then Kissi Agyabeng came to continue. And then Kissi Agyabeng shelved it. You see, we've been saying that he's been suppressing cases. So for a long time, he was not reporting on this Asante Beku case. He wasn't reporting on it until now. This matter has come up again. So you see that Kissi Agyabeng lost our trust. You can't have this. I don't know why President Mahama is entertaining these people who are begging him to protect Kissi Agyabeng. You see, Kissi Agyabeng became special prosecutor. He sat on the case. He suppressed it. There are a lot of other cases he suppressed.
In his statement, he said he was assisting the U.S. authorities in this particular issue. I'm sure you've seen the statement from his office.
Yes, that's not an excuse. That's right. So whilst he was assisting, what did he do? What did he do about the Ghanaian component? What did he do about the Ghanaian component? You check. You see, the law says that he should give updates.
Okay, gentlemen, please end the point. You were.
Yeah, the law says that he should give updates on cases that are being investigated. Okay. Right? What I'm saying is that you should check all the updates he was giving, whether after a while this Asante Beku case was part. It wasn't part. He suppressed it.
No.
You see, that's a key point I'm making. So though it is the case that he has the mandate OSP, but because of the trust issues, Ofori-Atta, this case, other cases is suppressed. You cannot trust Kissi Agyabeng to do an impartial investigation. No, he was put there to do somebody's bidding. The person is out of office, and we trust that this same person can continue to investigate. No. So though Iyoko is not the front and center of corruption investigations, but because of what OSP, Kissi Agyabeng especially, is done, you see that now Iyoko is forced to do it because we can't trust him. He suppressed the case. That's the key thing we should be looking. So if you had even said public inquiry, then the special prosecutor would have been the first person you call before the public inquiry to
So
find out
then-
what.
Yes, you don't support the call for the public and commission of inquiry. You would rather IOCO would lead the investigation into this matter.
Yes, and then OSP has to support, because when it comes to going to court, very soon there can be a turf war as to who has to present the case. So the key thing is that once in the Noah Adamte case, the Supreme Court says that Dr. Ayine, the Attorney General, can supervise the special prosecutor. Yes, let IOCO be fully involved in the investigations, and then when the case is going to court, yes, special prosecutor can go, as long as Ayine is supervising, so that we'll be sure that justice will be done, because the case has been compromised. Mr. Okansi, did you see Martin Amidu's write-up?
Yes, you have it here. I mean,
Yes, you see it. So where Amidu was rather even calling on President Mahama that he should release the thing. So you see that what is actually happening is that you see who sat on it. You see who sat on it, because if you are the special prosecutor, has he said he wants to go ahead with that case, and then it turned out that JM is the one sitting on the case, and so bring it out. You see the thing, bring it out, because Amidu is saying that the thing is with JM. But as far as we are concerned, it's with Kisi Ejabin. You are in the office. Kisi Ejabin is the occupant of the office. Has he brought it out and anybody, what do you call it, stopped him? Or is it a case that because people went to beg JM to protect Kisi Ejabin, he sees that, oh, then because this one will affect NDC officials, you see the game, so then he would suppress it. You see the game that's being played on us. That's the game. That is the game.
No, you wanted to make a quick because Professor Jampo will have his quick.
Did I say more?
Yes.
I think you want to address.
No.
Did I say more?
No, don't say it. No, it's okay.
No, I mean, no. See, he was making a point today, and you wanted to make a quick intervention.
Yes.
I have to conclude.
The thing about
he's
the
done.
commissions of
Yes.
inquiry.
Yes.
Okay. We need to make this point clear. Commissions of inquiry are set up to get information. And usually they are used for situations where no prosecution is necessary. For instance, if you want to find out our history, about maybe the coups, and what initiated them or whatever it is, you can ask people, those who are living or those who know something, to come and give that information. But you promise them that none of the information you give will be used in prosecuting you.
Okay.
That is usually for eliciting relevant history. Okay. In Ghana, we have abused them and used them in other situations where people have committed crimes. Now, commissions of inquiry are not the right place to go when you have crimes that have been committed that should be prosecuted. We have criminal investigations departments in our police force. Question: the issue we are dealing with, has a crime been committed? Answer: yes, it has been proven. We have Economic and Organized Crimes Commission, IOCO. Is this an economic crime? Yes. Is it an organized crime? Yes. IOCO has jurisdiction, they can investigate it. We have Office of the Special Prosecutor. Is this something that can be prosecuted? Yes, they have jurisdiction. We have the Attorney General's Department. Can he do it? Yes. I've named 4 institutions currently existing, staffed with people being paid, who should go into this matter and investigate it properly. And if we find that people are culpable like the US people did, you prosecute them. So there should be no question of commission of inquiry here. We are not looking for historical facts which have no criminal elements. What has happened is criminal. So let's be clear about that. Let's not confuse anybody. There's no issue of commissions of inquiry. Let's investigate quickly, establish if there's culpability, and proceed to prosecute.
It was a call the MPP made.
Yes, and I'm saying it's a wrong call.
The public
And over here, it's come up. So probably sometimes
I don't know whether it's so commissioner. Let me be honest with you. I don't easily trust all these politicians because in this matter, both of them are inside.
Senor, hold on.
NDC and MPP are all inside.
So let's do this.
commission of inquiry.
No, that's fine. Let's exclude it.
Thank you.
How about a sole commissioner?
It doesn't matter. The investigative bodies are there. I've named 4. They should investigate
So
the
you don't support the call for
Absolutely.
public inquiry?
The investigation is not in dispute.
Let me do this quickly. The former member of parliament for the Madina constituency, Alhaji Ahmadu Sorogo, who was the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament when this AXA deal came before the House, is on the telephone right now. Alaj, good morning.
Yes.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now,
good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. First of all, you earlier sent a message about not traveling to Turkey. You were not part of the 5 people who traveled. So who went? The technical committee. Who went?
Do I know the technical committee? Technical committee is not from Parliament. Technically, we are members of Parliament. You see, what is paining me is that it has been discussed as if this is the fact, that it has been established that such a person took this money and then refused to do his or her job and then resulted in Ghana being given a raw deal. And that is why I'm saying that a technical committee has nothing to do with Parliament. Parliament, the report is sent from the government, to Parliament. Mr. Speaker will go through it and refer it to the appropriate committee. This was referred to my committee, made up of 18 members, MPs from both sides, the MPP, the NDC, supported by our clerk, our deputy clerk, and the staff. We sit down, we invite people, technical people, those who know, to come and help us. So please, that none, I don't know, technical men are from the various stakeholders. It has nothing to do with Parliament. It has nothing to do with MPs. It comes to us, we go through based on what we know. We invite people, they come, they help us, including ASEC and what have you. And I'm surprised. I don't know whether I ever met my brother who was talking as to whether he also came to us and advised, because the information that I'm hearing is that he advised and we didn't take the advice. I don't know.
That's the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Did you meet them? No, did ASEP come before you and raise concerns about this deal at the time you were considering it?
We are talking about 12 years, 11 years ago. I don't remember. It's possible because a lot of other people came in. We debated it. They brought their views. We also, at the end of the day, we all arrived by consensus. It wasn't something that somebody said, no, I'm not going to agree. No. Mind you, we were in crisis. That doesn't mean that we should do shoddy work. Not at all. And so the work of Parliament, referring the committee to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy, of which I chair, K.T. Hammond was my ranking, Mutawakil, the current MD for Ghana Water, was my vice, and then Enin was the deputy ranking, plus very prominent MPs. We sat down, not that we rushed through, and at the end of the day, we reported to the plenary, the entire Parliament. Mind you, whatever that we report is not binding. So in Parliament, there were a lot of contributions, additions, subtractions, and at the end of the day, it was ratified. Where is the crime? How can that vehicle, whether he is green, whether he is black, whether he is tall, I don't know him, I've never met him, and I don't think any of my members, I can't talk for them, but as far as I'm concerned, as the chairman then, there was nothing like that.
So Elijah, I want you to,
my brother.
Yes, speak. I mean, for yourself, because you are here. You say you haven't met.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. You haven't met Beck. Wait. I can vouch that as the chairman, there was nothing. I never received any money, and some of them, if you read the report, that the money was paid after ratification. Some say the money was paid before ratification. I was waiting to get the full complement of the judgment because I can't take it anymore. I have built a reputation and I'm prepared to defend it. I have not taken a peso from anybody to do any shoddy work. I did my work as a Ghanaian as the chairman of the committee, I guided it, and we all came together. If at the end of the day, there is a problem, why are you people not also thinking that it's possible that that Beku could have used our names to go and collect whatever money he wants to collect?
But you see, that's one side of the issue. The other side is that,
yes.
And I'm coming, to the extent of how this deal, the path it took in Parliament, it also raises questions. You know, this report by the technical committee came before you. Within a day, your committee approved this deal. I mean, if we were in an emergency situation, which was the case, did you have to sacrifice some level of due diligence and accuracy for speed? Within one day, you are done with your work, you send it to plenary. Why?
I'm happy you said that we were in an emergency and you heard the cries of every Ghanaian. Yes, I don't know. You heard the cry of every Ghanaian. We were in an emergency. We did our work. Look, you can even stay for 1 month, 2 months, and still come out with a very bad report. It depends upon the clarity and the people around helping us. And so as far as we are concerned, if you are saying that the time was short, why?
I'm talking about one day to do a work like this.
Nobody, as far as I'm concerned, how can 46,000, if any short?
No, wait, Alhaji, I'm saying, would you say you did a good job in reviewing the technical committee's report, looking at all the issues that you say you invited all other body CSOs, before you, and within a day you were able to review their concerns as a committee, and within a day you approved of their work? Did you do a good job?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we did what was supposed to be done under the emergency period. We did what we were supposed to have been done to do during the emergency period, and we sent it to the plenary. The plenary also had every right to look at it critically and then come out with their comments. And exactly that is what happened. What I want to say is that nobody, as far as I'm concerned, I never took a peso from anybody because I don't even know that Beku. I've never met him, and nobody came to me as the chairman. And so please, when we are talking, as if it is something that is a fact, as if the money was handed over to us or to me, I'm not happy with it. And that is why I said I need to clarify. Nobody did that, as far as I'm concerned.
At least, but hearing what has come out now with the U.S. report and what has led to the conviction of this gentleman, and you were the chairman of the committee, would you say, based on the information that has now been verified, which has led to his conviction, you still stand by the fact that you did a good job?
Let me. Maybe there is one point that you are also missing. Was the judgment attacking the report, the contract, or the judgment was attacking the process through which the AXA got the contract? I don't want to go. I just called to clarify.
Yes, but Alhaji, regarding the agreement itself, questions were raised because you say you spoke to, well, you don't remember that ASAP appeared before you as a committee, but at the time, in 12 years ago. It's okay. In 2015, when all of this was going on, I remember speaking to ASAP. They raised the concerns about the cost per kilowatt that was contained in this agreement. And this was the time that the committee, your committee, was considering this deal. Did you have any issues about the cost that we were buying per kilowatt for this agreement?
Under emergencies, and I'm not a technical man. I'm not a technical man. MPs work based on advice from technical men, those who have been paid to do the detailed work down there. People were sent to Turkey, technical men. They come, a report is generated. Based on that report, it is brought to us under emergency. Mind you, this was a time that you and I, everybody, including all of you sitting on the table, were all concerned about the Dumso situation. Of course, that doesn't mean that you should do a short work. And so based on that understanding and with the limited knowledge that we had, we thought that we had done a good job. And that is why we sent the report. If after that, it comes out that, look, there could have been a better negotiated agreement, fair. I mean, we stand to be corrected and we move forward. But under the circumstances, I just want to repeat that, yes, we thought we had done a good job. We, as far as I'm concerned, no money was paid to any of us. I can't say from them, but me as the chairman, I never received any money. And I also believe strongly that my ranking, my vice, and my deputy ranking, and the entire membership, I don't think any of them.
But Alaj, if they receive money, how would you know? I mean, and you say this 46,000. You wouldn't know. So why are you saying that you are sticking out your neck?
I think, I hope and think that nothing like that happened because I am the chairman. And if they receive money, you can't receive money when you cannot influence the outcome. If you are a member and you alone go and you take money, you cannot come and impose your ideas on the entire committee. And then going to the plenary. That is why I think I'm not vouching for anybody. And I believe myself. And I know that nothing of that nature, as far as I'm concerned.
So the $46,000, you didn't get some.
Oh, but I mean, what can it's not an insult. If you are talking of that contract, that millions of dollars, so you want to reduce me, Sorogo, that $46,000 should be shared among 18 MPs plus I was supporting 6 staff. $1,700, it 2,000. Senor, even if I needed money, you know my situation. I will come to you, and from time to time, I mean, if I needed serious money, you Senor, you know it. We are working together, and I call you, I get ideas from you about how we can run the petroleum downstream. So please, and you know who I am. I would never shortchange Ghana because of this. No, please.
I see. So if Yoko or OSP should invite you now,
I am ever ready. I've said it a number of times, 1,000 times. They should invite me tomorrow. I'm ready to come. If only they have time to waste on $46,000 alleged. You are also saying that the names are there. I'm waiting to see the judgment in which Sorogo's name has been mentioned as having received money. You know, and that is why I'm saying that when you people are discussing it, look, let us be mindful that we also have feelings. I also have family members. My children are calling me from everywhere around the world. Daddy, what is happening? It is not fair to us, at least. Also believe in some of us and say that, look, let's investigate. But don't conclude that it is something that happened. This is somebody who has been, why is it that the MPP came to power all this time? And me, Sorogo, the way I am, I'm still sitting here. Please, I beg you, I am ever ready. Any investigative body that invites me, I'm ready to appear and assist them 100%.
Okay, thank you. Alhaj Amadou Bukari Sorogo is a former chair of this Mines and Energy Committee during this was the 6th Parliament, right? When this matter came before that and this AXA deal. He mentioned a number of names, and these are the persons we're talking about.
Yes, but a very important information. Yes. I was a member of the advisory board for the Ministry of Energy, but I think this transaction happened under the Ministry of Power. I was not part. You know,
thank you.
I just realized that it was but of course every gentleman there is known is not. But I beg you, let's be careful. Not to be strategically distracted
into just chasing where the 1 million went or did not just go. It's important. I think the bigger thing that as a country we should be focused on right now is how we can recover our cost and our lost funds. And that must come from us leveraging this corrupt act by AXA, as established by the U.S. court, to relook that contract. And if it's possible, claim what? Is it damages or whatever it is? All right? We have paid people $750 million. They've given us 16% of the work. We've given them 100% of the money if we are supposed to follow what
As a matter of
Ben,
what you just said, right?
Yes.
Is what really triggers the question. When Amadou Sogo says that they did a very good work for Ghana.
I understand.
How did you do a good work?
No,
when
be careful. Be careful.
No, how is that? How does that amount to a good work?
Let me explain. He's right when he says they will only work with the technical reports that come. He's right. They are not energy experts in its entirety. I'm coming. He's right when he says that. That's why Parliament's processes require public participation.
Did they listen to the public?
That is the part that we should rather seek clarity from. Because I was quite surprised, though, that he was saying he wasn't even sure who ASAP was relative to this conversation. So that's the part.
Did they check the
you really want to look at.
No, wait.
But I beg you, let me finish. Please, you deal with your good work matter. That's not my matter.
Over a case that has cost us over $700 million.
I'm interested in that.
When they produce only 16%.
No, it's not good work. So let me.
How is that?
It's not good work. But I'm just telling you, and I'm speaking now as an economic policy analyst. We can easily get caught by the emotions of the who has stopped what, which is often Ghana is a bigger problem, and they will lose sight of the bigger picture. The bigger picture for me here is that we have an opportunity to claw back all that 750 million or more. You understand? And government should not lose sight of it. Okay. While you are doing investigation over who was compromised in the process, if at all, we must take what is defined now. AXA has been established to have participated in the process of corruption over a contract that we all sit back today and realize that Ghana may possibly have been shortchanged. The dispatches were 16%. We paid 750 million. Experts are telling us that the cost of this whole thing should not go in excess of 100 million. And let's even take that. That act of corruption, we should not lose sight of the opportunity to claw back monies that can transform the lives of our people. Catch the people, deal with that. It's your passion. It's also all of us our passion. Okay. But let's not lose sight of the economic policy opportunity that we currently have.
Right. For example, let me Prof. No, Mensah, you come to. I'll come to you. I know you have to leave. Yes.
It is depressing hearing some of these things, and by listening to Bembuachi makes me worry for Mother Ghana. And this fits into what I've seen playing a leadership position or being handed a position to run a public institution where it seems to me contract to do something for the nation is a big deal. And when it gets to that time, people are always in a hurry to look out for what is in whatever contract for them and not what is in the nation's interest. So everybody is talking about contract, and the first thing is, what do I get from it, and not what the nation is going to get. And so if it is true that people were paid pittance in exchange for this drain of resources on the Mother Ghana, then we should all be sad. And what I'm hearing, from Bembuachi and around this table is that this time it is the political elites across the divide. And I'm worried. So it appears that among our political elites, they are always divided by what unites them is when it comes to some of these things, what we are all going to be getting from it. And my heart bleeds for Mother Ghana, because it would mean then that the battle against corruption has been fought and lost, and we would continue to fetch water with basket as a nation. And so I am pleading, okay, it is so depressing. And for once, you see, when you give them the opportunity to talk and we are quiet, I complain. But for once, I'm not complaining, because the kinds of things that are being said, I mean, you would have to be depressed if you are a patriotic Ghanaian. And I would appeal to the investigative bodies and agencies. You see, there is a certain inordinate, morbid, palpable desire to hang scandals on this particular administration. At all costs, let us look for scandals to hang on this particular administration. But I know that this government came in to reset. And so I would plead with the government that for this particular matter, let everything be put on hold and let the matter be confronted head on with a view to addressing it, so that whoever is found culpable is dealt with according to our laws. I trust Raymond Archer. When we were growing up, he was I think he was the first to be described as the best, to win an award of a best investigative journalist in Ghana. I trust him. And I believe that he can do a very good job, aided by OSP, Attorney General, and all that. Let them coalesce, let them come together to ensure that whoever is the technical official, whoever is the public servant, whoever is the politician across the political divide, who played a certain role in this, in making sure that we were shortchanged as a nation this much, is brought to book. And this one, look, I'm sure that if we do it, it serves as the needed deterrence, such that tomorrow, when you have the opportunity to go negotiate for the country, you would look at the national interest.
Right.
And I'm saying that maybe, you see, I've worked with civil society all my life. It gets to that point in time where the more civil society shouts, the more politicians will turn a deaf ear, on whatever they are advocating for. And I think that this should be a serious lesson, for us. I commend Bembuachi that in spite of this, he's still assisting the powers that be to ensure that for free. He's assisting the powers that be to ensure that some of these things are addressed. And look, it is important that this also sends a certain message to all current appointees, that as you go negotiate for contracts today, be mindful of the interests of the nation. It appears that in our part of the world, everything that is done for the state must be expensive. And when you are negotiating, you are in office, they bring you a certain bill, you're going to sign this contract or you're going to buy this thing to the tune of X amount. And then you say that it's too expensive. Call the supplier here, I want to negotiate, I want to beat it down. And then they're saying that, but where are you coming from? If the money is not for you, if it's for the state and they said it's 10 cedis, just pay. And I'm saying that if it were to be your own money, will you do that? They are telling us that the whole deal should have been costed around $100 million. Yeah. And then we're spending over 700 million. If you were to be doling out that money from your pocket, will you do so gladly? And so it is important that the right signals are sent. And I plead with President Mahama that he gives these investigative bodies all his support and let them go into the matter. Ahmad Osorogo says he's ready to appear before any committee or any investigative body. Let everybody avail himself or herself. And I am also very much concerned about the role that may have been played by the so-called or the supposed technical advisors. What technical work did they do? Did they do value for money audit? In their mind, were they patriotic enough in whatever guided them to allow this drain to go on?
What about the MPs who passed it in one day?
The MPs who passed it in one day,
Okay, but they are saying that they are not technical people. But like you, like was rightly said, if you are not technical, if you are not even technical, yes, we were in a period of emergency. But the point is,
and there was information available to them from ASAP and us and everybody. We could see the facts on the internet.
You saw my.
Prof, so the opposition failed us. Please, the executive failed us. They were all in parliament.
CSO did not fail you.
So my point is that, this is the revelation.
So if the executive was not listening, at least the opposition should have taken the CSO's information.
The revelation
and interrogate it. The CSOs also make mistakes.
The revelations here present a monumental shame to all of us who may have played one role or the other in getting us here. I'm not talking about civil society. At least they did their bit.
Right.
Their bit. But the point is that we should all bow our heads in shame.
Okay.
And I'm saying that to deter and to prevent the recurrence of these things, it appears to have been, this practice appears to have been ingrained in the psyche of everybody who goes to negotiate on behalf of the state. If it's about the contract, it is not about what is in the interest of the nation, but what am I going to get? So if I'm going to get a pittance and the state is going to lose, you don't care because the state does not belong to you. But the point is that if the state does not belong to you and the state does not belong to me, then who owns the state? And so I am saddened. I am depressed by these things, and I'm asking once again, that look, President Mahama, let's put everything on hold and let's support these investigative agencies to go into this matter. And the bit about we are not confident in Yoko, we are not confident in OSP, we are not confident in AG to go into the matter. If you are not confident in these agencies of state, then who are you confident in? Why do we set up agencies to? Why do you set up agencies to do some of these things? And when it comes to they doing their work, because you may also have your own biases and interests, suddenly you are not interested in any of them doing some of these work. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And so it is not about hearing the opposition talk, because some of them are also complicit. Per what we have heard here.
Okay.
And so let there be a proper full-scale investigation into this. And whoever, and I like the fact that we've been told here that it is possible we can go also for our money. Let us go, if it is possible, let us reclaim our money. If it is possible, let us reclaim the portions that we can reclaim, and let those found culpable be dealt with, ruthlessly in a manner that serves as a lesson and deterrence to every other Ghanaian who is bestowed with the fiduciary trust to go negotiate or to go act on behalf of the country when it comes to entering into contract.
Well, thank you. Ms. Zanu, you have to leave. Just quickly on this. The way forward is what is important. What should we be looking at now?
Clearly, the political class is failing us. And I think we need to talk to our politicians.
Okay. Have you not been doing that every weekend?
Them credit, didn't listen. No. Maybe they think the rest of us can't see that they are failing us big time. Big time. And maybe we are not angry enough. This whole thing of we elect you and then you come and do business with us and play football with us is nonsensical. And don't think we cannot see that. I don't understand Alhaji Sorogo, honestly. Perhaps he should have started by giving an apology. Maybe he hasn't heard the figures. Estimated at 100 million. At the moment, we lost in excess of 700 million. When Ben was saying, he says we have lost billions because we borrowed money to pay for this. Not just the 620 million difference, but the monies we borrowed. And then we had 16% of the capacity. Can you imagine? I think that Parliament needs to answer. I have so much suspicion about their systems. If they can clear these things in one day, and they want to come back confidently and tell us that we did a good job. Leadership of Parliament must answer. How can this be a good job?
100 million to 700
How can this be a good job? That we've lost millions, billions of dollars, and you say you did a good job. You are not even attempting to explain that this one-day clearance should stop. We will now do due diligence. Tell us what you will do. Tell us what you do. I don't get it. And then somebody had a title, special advisor. We need to review what advice he gave the minister in this instance.
Thank you.
What advice did he give? What was he paid? How long?
Why did they ignore the CSOs who pointed the thing?
Come on, what are we talking about? And then we have a technical team, whether it is engineers or we don't know who it is. The 5 people. Who are they? What was in the report they provided that ended up where we are?
The 5 wise men.
Thank you.
I think that honestly we are not serious. Parliament should tell us what they will do about a system that does not do due diligence. Don't tell us agency. Every crisis this country happens, it means they will continue doing this kind of thing. Every time we have a crisis, they will find a way to sneak in and steal how much? Billions of dollars.
Come on!
We
have to break down that 750 million properly. How much is that today? 7 point.
And you come and say we did a good job. Nobody's attempting to tell us, oh, we made a mistake. We will make sure our systems do due diligence. This will not happen again.
Thank you.
But I beg Ghana, our first focus, we have to chase the people who collected the money, who didn't collect the money, those who did not do us right.
Well,
but immediately, let's recover as much money as possible.
Operation Recover All Loot.
Yes, this is the loot. If you can't aura at all, out for this one, if you don't aura, then 2 seasons lost.
Thank you. Yes. But already, Bemboachi indicated that the committee that he headed reviewed, and there's been some.
That's not it. He was reviewing a renewal. Some of us were saying AXA should go away, but they gave a good deal. In fact, earlier on, it wasn't a good deal. And some consultants were supposed to be talking to them. Nothing was happening. And Ben and Co. were finally brought in, I think, when this government came in. They went, put AXA down. And AXA gave us, after Ben Dems did that work, a pretty good deal that they couldn't refuse. But it doesn't erase the past.
Right.
But what's the point? If you have rebuilt them more than 10 times.
Gentlemen, thank you. Let's move on to the next issue. Dennis Carter says, good morning. Very interesting things and a great analysis on the program with your guest this morning. To me, let's go back from 1990s to date when the country went into power crisis. The corruption that has occurred, you have no idea in this particular sector. We need a holistic review of it, you say. Thank you. Alhaji Amadu Sogo sent a message here. As at the time, based on the report from the technical team and others, it was the best. I also said that if after 10 years it has come out to be a bad one, we can discuss it. Well, that's what we're doing now, Alhaji Amadu Sogo. This one says, BB from Oyafa, is it not annoying to hear Sogo and Katie Hammond say that the 46,000 is peanuts? There's a huge cost to the poor when decisions are taken in the dark. You say it doesn't matter whether the bribe is $1 or $1 million. You say. Thank you very much for your message. Togbi Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo says, I'm incensed by this particular development in this AXA conversation. I'm just hoping that the right thing is done. Investigations launched to ensure that the people who have to answer questions would answer those questions. And I had a chat with him earlier in the week on this particular issue. There are quite a number of your messages that we would get into. This one I think I found out from Ben. It says, ask Bemboachi that he chaired the renegotiation of the PPAs with the IPPs when this government constituted a committee. Did they make any savings with the AXA? And how much? It says $250 million yes. is the savings.
And then $3 billion in
that was made. This one here says, Alfred, good morning. Can it also be possible that the Beko man only used AXA to make money for himself? I was invited by the Minister for Health as Director of Veterinary Public Health to participate in the sittings of Parliamentary Select Committee on Health. So Parliamentary Committee should not be blamed because the committee is just an oversight committee. No, that's where we all disagree with you on. The oversight also includes the asking the right questions as well. Gentlemen, thank you. Adam Sedano is having to leave us this morning, but thank you so much for coming. And we're going to the next issue about...
Just ask Adam. I never had any... CSOs have value in this country.
I never had any opportunity.
And nobody pays for their work.
Yeah. If they had just listened to CSOs around that time, would have saved this money because we put the information that was out there, and when they failed to listen, that's how we ended up with Doomsum and stuff.
Right.
We should learn to at least listen to everyone and even check what the people are saying, because when people like Ben speak, he's an expert in the area.
True.
And some of us who are not even experts, we do the research.
Absolutely.
So at least in future, going forward, we should listen to CS. We are not part of the problem. I refuse to take part of that problem.
Mani Nimani sends a message, says they are all guilty and need to be arrested. I don't know who that they are, but if you could send a message and give me that, yes.
Yes,
Let's
so,
quick one on this.
I think that this case presents a very good, unique, if you like, opportunity on this syndrome of procurement benefit. I think every time I've had an opportunity to talk on corruption, I keep mentioning that procurement benefit has been the bane of our entire corruption scandals in this country. And I remember once when I mentioned this, Uncle Kweku Bako pulled out documents as he always does. That once when President Nkrumah was intended to buy a presidential jet, his father did the analysis. I think his father was the minister or something. And part of the analysis, a letter that was written to the president, was that the benefits accruing from the purchase of that presidential jet was more than the cost of the presidential jet. And I think as a result, that particular purchase was frozen or something, and then a new one had to be renegotiated and purchased by President Nkrumah. Now, this has been a systemic story. But unfortunately, having said that, we need to remember that this has presented, once again, the weaknesses within our parliamentary systems, the oversight responsibilities. And I think that all of us need to really look at the role of Parliament in supervising the executive in particular, because without Parliament, the executive may get all things wrong. And Parliament's role is there to ensure that we get value for money. Now, in doing this, I think we need to look at resourcing Parliament enough. I remember in the past, we used to complain about Parliament not having offices and using their car boots as offices and not having research assistants, among other things. Now they do have a bit of these things. They have offices and they do have staff, but I do not know whether they have research assistants to help them.
What is the staff for? They do.
Yeah. So
most of them are idle.
So it begs the question what these offices are being used for, because we need to have this genuine training. And in saying that, we should also look at ensuring that people with the necessary resources are put at the right committees, because the committee level is where all the work actually takes place. The workings of Parliament is not in the plenary; it is in the committee, at the committee level. And so, if we have people at the committee level, but fortunately for us, Parliament has a right to invite anyone like Senor who has a lot of experience in these areas to come advise them on some of these matters. And unfortunately, the BNDMs are available, CSOs. In fact, this whole case has presented the CSOs as the heroes. And our members of Parliament and indeed our politicians, our leaders, if you like, as the victims and then indeed the beneficiaries of corruption. And so we need to have a holistic look at all these matters and then find a better way of resolving it. Now, when Ahmadu Sorogo and co talk about not receiving monies directly from, or not even knowing Beko, it's very funny when people say that, because when we talk about conspiracy, you do not need to be personally involved with the person. You don't need to have, you shouldn't, nobody's saying that you directly received the money from Beko.
But if say he didn't receive none,
you don't need to receive it from Beko.
Anybody else.
And so long as these monies were paid, in fact, and which is why the investigations ought to even go on. Because the US authorities have established that indeed these monies were paid. Now, they are not saying that the monies were allegedly paid. They said that the monies were paid to official 1, official 2, and all those people. So if the counterparts here who received the money or allegedly received the money claim they did not receive it, it is even the best reason, but the good reason why that we investigate these matters. Luckily for us, OSP tells us that they did a lot of the local investigations for the US authorities. And so I think that the OSP has already gone ahead of itself. And it has all the dossier that is needed for the prosecution to take place. And I think that if Yoko and the AG's office are willing to prosecute, I would rather call on them to collaborate with OSP, because OSP has already done the work. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
We can simply rely on that and gather more, if need be, to commence the prosecution. And I think that we will be able to obtain fair, justice out of this matter and possibly secure conviction. Now, those calling for public inquiry, I think that it has been exhausted, that issue has been exhausted. So I think we need to remember that it is not the right call, whether by an MPP or by whoever, that we do. I actually think that the call by the MPP is a trap.
Yeah, it's a surreptitious
I think it's a trap. I honestly think it's a trap.
To prevent.
Okay. Some English is coming. That English should come again.
Because
Prof, come again. Prof, come again.
I'm saying those making the call that we needed a public inquiry. Okay, a commission of inquiry. Knowing very well that they are lawyers and they know the remit and mandates of a commission of inquiry and what the evidence they garner can be used for and what the evidence cannot be used for. And going ahead to still make this call publicly, I see that attempt as a surreptitious attempt to hide, okay? Let the matter be... my student will say, "On person we assembly beans." Thank you.
I thank you.
The government is in charge.
So for such calls, I think it is inappropriate to make such calls. And I don't think it is fair on the people of Ghana to make a call for a commission of inquiry.
Make a new call.
My call is direct at the president. It's directed at the President of the Republic, President Mahama. Yes. And my call is for him to act swiftly,
it happened in his time,
decisively, and ensure that this matter is nipped in the bud. Because, first off, this originated at the time that he was the president. Under him. This was part of the issues that culminated in his overthrow, if you like, for denial of the re-election. This matter has cost all of us so much, and I think that it has to end in his time. It can only end in his time if he puts his feet on the ground to make this work.
Thank you.
And I call on the president for a swift criminal investigation into this matter.
Thank you so much.
I think that this is the best way to deal with this issue.
Justice
And it has to be a holistic one. Everyone involved. From the day AXA came to Ghana to today, all contracts that have been entered into with AXA, because if it is rotten in the head, clearly it's rotten in the heart, and it's rotten everywhere else. So we need to look at everything AXA has done and then bring this to an end.
Let me remind you, we're live
seize
on
the
3
plants
FM
immediately.
I'm
telling you, we must seize the AXA plants immediately.
I said that. I need to repeat this.
Thank you.
This is very important.
We're live on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, Voice of London Television as well. And remind you that the key point is always brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and GASEM is the nation builder. GASEM has been building the foundations of the nation over decades, and they continue to evolve to meet your building needs. Get to any GASEM distributor or depot near you. They are all across the country in all 16 regions. Also, from now until the end of October 2026, Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans at very slim rates to salaried workers. We understand you have urgent needs to sort out. That's why we give you that quick turnaround time, whether it is school fees, prospectus, car maintenance, or that much needed family vacation, or any emergency for that matter. Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. The emphasis is on fast. Take this number and call them. Or you can also send them a WhatsApp. They will respond quickly. 0244 338 226. 0244 338 226. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa is as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And GASEM is the nation builder. Let me remind you as well that my outfit this morning, as you see, is by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you, or this outfit and many others you see me wearing on Saturday. Give them a call on this number, 026 055 8056. 026 055 8056 for this outfit and many others. Now, this week we've seen two. I need to move on. I beg you, please. We've seen two. These two suits filed at the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to step into the matter of vacation courts. Now, Lawyer Martin Kpebu, are you still there with us? Hello, Counsel. Let's get Martin Kpebu back on. The technical team will check it, and let's get Martin Kpebu back online. Also, on this matter, hello, Counsel. Okay, we'll try to get through to him. The latest to filed at the Supreme Court is Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, who is a Afwasia Yerebi Member of Parliament, and is asking the Supreme Court to answer a number of questions regarding this particular vacation courts. And this week, we had Samuel Atachia, who is lawyer for Kwabena Dubois, who is standing trial. In fact, his case is one of the cases to be heard during this vacation court, saying he will not go to court. In fact, he did not. And his client asked for some time in court because his legal counsel was not there. The case has been adjourned to August 17 as to whether he's going to have to look for a new counsel or not. Atachia says this vacation court, he's not attending to court. He has already planned his vacation, so he's not going to change it. Also, in the case of the former food buffer stock boss, Hanan, he's also indicated that his lawyer, that's Godfred Dame, was in and out of the hospital. And so that's how come he wasn't available. But we know, but before these petitions, the two, that's Samuel Atachia and Godfred Dame, had already written to the Chief Justice that they will not be available because they have planned their vacations. But then the vacation courts are sitting. What is the issue? Is it legitimate vacation being denied or delay tactics being employed by these lawyers? And is there an exceptional case in this instance regarding these cases involving these persons, which have been described as high-profile cases? But are high-profile cases exempt from vacation courts? These are questions that we're going to be asking the lawyers who are here this morning, and then also the public policy analysts who have been looking into the lenses to see. Prof. Jampo, I'll start off with you on this. Prof.
Well, thank you very much. We've been talking about this vacation, court vacation, for every year the matter comes up, but this particular year it appears that there's been some brouhaha about it. And me, as a governance person, I've been analyzing it of perhaps my views will be different from what the lawyers will be saying. Mm-hmm. I think that putting what the lawyers are saying, whether they will go to court during vacation or they won't go to court during vacation, putting that aside, I think that we must first of all look at, re-examine the whole idea of court vacation and to see whether it is still relevant in our modern day democratic practice, given the universality of human rights, given the inalienability of human rights, and given the crucial role that human rights play in making a human being human. Now, when we were coming here last night as part of my usual scan of the literature to appreciate some of these things, I asked myself, so what's the relevance of court vacation and how did we get here? Historically, my search showed that judges of our courts were all whites and foreigners. So they come in here to sit
and to work. Now, during this summertime, they would have to leave and go visit their families abroad. So, for instance, if they want, if it's in Ghana, they are all white judges. And then they will sit for a while and then go back to England to go and visit their wives and children. And this is how they went. They sailed on the high seas for 1 month, stayed in England for 1 month, and sailed back to the Gold Coast on a high sea for another 1 month. That's the essence of the 3-month vacation that they talk about. So sailing from here on the high seas for 1 month, staying on vacation in England for 1 month, and when you are coming back, it's also 1 month. So 3 months. I keep asking myself, now they don't sail from here to England, using the high seas for 1 month. Again, now our judges are Ghanaians. So why would we want a whole court, our judicial system to grind to a halt because all of them want to go on vacation? I don't get it, because in every modern public service, in our modern day democratic practice, I don't think we should perpetuate this idea of grinding a whole. So everybody is on vacation, so somebody's rights is seriously, egregiously violated. Are we able to give that excuse that, look, the courts are on vacation, and so then we can't, you are kept in, if you like, police custody, and then you'll be kept there for 3 months or up to the time that the courts will be recalled or will return from their vacation. I don't think that it is the right thing to do. It's the right way to go. You see, it appears that one of the arms of government that has failed or that has refused to contextualize itself or to modernize itself to suit modernity is the judiciary. Even when they are trying to modernize them, I can see a certain resistance. There's an attempt to modernize by making sure that they capture whatever is said at the courts, on computers and all that. Once I went to court, I went to see what was happening, and I was embarrassed. The lawyer is talking and somebody else is typing. He is typing like the lawyer is talking like he's dictating notes to the person who is typing. So the person says, wait, and what the boy is, they say, I didn't get the is, go back and or I say, what sort of, can't we have a recorder that records? Okay, why are we still wearing gowns to court in a hot, sunny weather? And why do we still want to pretend that without putting on a wig, you are not wise? I think that these are all relics of colonialism that we must do away with. You see, when the white man comes to our part of the world, you see the way they dress. Sometimes they want to virtually walk naked because our weather is hot. But for us, who told you that there is always wisdom in the gray hair? I've seen people who have gray hair who are not wise. Okay. And so my point is that, putting all these things aside, it is important for us to interrogate this whole idea of legal vacation. I think that given the inviolability of human rights, the inalienability of human rights, and the universality of human rights, we cannot continue to allow judges to say, look, I go on leave and the organization that I run runs. And I'm sure, Senor, you run your organization. Alfred, you are here as a host. One day you go on leave, and then the program will continue to run. And so my point is, if we are modernizing public service, we cannot say that a whole arm of government should grind justice to a halt because we are going on vacation. Why can't we schedule it such that one judge or a few judges go on vacation, then the system runs. Those who are working will continue to work. When they return, the others who kept the system running would also take their turns to go, like we've been doing in our public service. In the public service, there is roster. Everybody will come and show when he or she wants to go on leave, such that you go, somebody takes watch your back, you go, and the system continue running. At the end of the year, everybody would have taken his or her leave. Why can't we extend this same practice in the public service to the judiciary, such that a judge will go on leave, some lawyers can go on leave, others will take turn to be running the system. When those who are on leave come, those who kept the system running would also keep it. I mean, this is what we should be thinking about. So my point is that there are certain colonial legacies that we have kept on ourselves. We have decided not to let go, and it doesn't make sense to me. Who told you that you must always put on the wig? Look, I was once in court, and I saw a lawyer dressed in a certain way. And the way a manner the judge embarrassed the lawyer, saying that the lawyer was wearing, the dress was wearing was like a dress for dinner. It looks more like a dinner wear and not a shirt for the court. And I asked myself, what has the dress one wear got to do with the wisdom the person is going to spew at the court? What has dressing got to do with
the law? When your gowns and things during graduation?
No, please. I beg, don't bring yourself. You let me make a point. But my point is that you see, colonial legacies. This is an unproductive colonial. The idea of vacation, closing down wanting to close down the entire court, is an unproductive colonial legacy that, in my view, must be dispensed with in modern day democratic practice. The other bit is to make the point that, you see, sometimes our political elites, the way a manner they conduct their affairs and they behave, it appears they are always, or they always want to be insulting the intelligence of Ghanaians. I mean, is it the first time that judges, the court is going on vacation, that cases are to be heard? This is not the first time. It happened yesterday. It is happening today. Okay, so if we don't want it to happen, then there should be a certain elite consensus about it. For you to be able to talk about it, you must first admit that we did it in our time. It was not right, and so it is not right today. But don't close your eyes on what happened in your time and to pretend that this is the first time we are talking about cases being heard during court vacation. I think that it's an unnecessary insult to the intelligence of the good people of Ghana, and we must continue to expose some of these things and must not allow them to fester.
Prof, thank you. And on that particular point you made, this was a warrant sometime in 2023. So you're right, this is not the first time. And then you have lawyers say that the concern you raised about the whole judicial grind to a halt, reason why some of these vacation calls were introduced. So this was under the signature of Justice Efia Sewa Asari-Botwe. Although it says a warrant has been obtained for the case to be continued during the vacation, August 1 and 2, Thaddeus Asari indicated that he will need altogether 12 hours to conclude. So this was a warrant at the time. So it's not new, right? And that's why the lawyers who are here say that you are litigating their case. So I'm going to come to them. But there's a message from Nana Kojo Kranchi, who sort of corroborates the point that you're making, that really assuming that all lawyers and judges want to go on leave at the same time, which other profession or public institutions allow its staff to go on leave for 3 months? Can't they take 1 month like all of us? Why do you need 3 months?
Because they used to sail on the high seas. Who now sails on the high seas from here to England?
Why do you need 3 months?
Who sails on the high seas?
Please.
I mean, unproductive colonial legacy that has festered. And Kofi Bentil and Co, they are enjoying, they are keeping quiet.
They are happy to wear wigs. Their bald-headed man is happy to wear wigs.
Hold on.
This one don't say so.
Let me get you.
Your question was, why do I need 3 months of leave?
No, this was just to respond to a message.
I get it. I get it.
Substantive question.
My answer is, we don't need 3 months of leave. And some of us worked in other places before we became lawyers. No serious corporate entity allows anyone from chief executive down to take 3 months of leave together. None.
I beg you, let me just ask something. Not just let you have. Look, I've worked 1.5 years without going on leave.
Okay.
I tell my minister I want to take some 2 weeks leave. I said, no, Prof. Even 2 weeks, stagger it. Do some 3 days and
coming.
You are talking about 3 months leave, sailing from here to
you
where?
made your point. Thank you. Let me hear from
So back to my point.
Please.
So in my life as a consultant, we never advise anyone. The rule is this: if anybody can take off from the company for a month together, then they are dispensable. So the normal thing to do is to say, take it in bits and pieces. All right. Yeah. Now, we also insist that you take the leave anyway, because if a company cannot do with any member of its staff, executive or otherwise, taking a leave, then that company is not being well managed. So both ways, if you have to give 3 months of leave, you are not managing well. If you have to give no leave, you are not managing well. If you ask me, do we need 3 months of leave? We don't need 3 months of leave. Next question, do we need to take it together? It doesn't make sense. So I have always maintained that the legal vacation is anachronistic. It will never make sense.
Yeah,
it is just one of those things.
Oh,
anachronism. Anachronistic means
antiquated.
Let me explain. It means something which is out of time.
Right.
The time for this is not the time for it. Okay, and I'm saying that because of the history that he's talking about. That in a certain time it made sense. Right now it doesn't make sense. Now, there are things that professions arrogate. They have powers they seize. Okay. And doctors, everybody does some of those things. And lawyers in particular, these are gowns and our wigs and whatever it is. We can do it, so we do it. But my worry is where what we do has a serious effect on other people. Just over this week, I had to go into some jail somewhere for somebody who had been thrown there and is on remand. And if you go on this holiday, that person is there. A mother, an innocent mother. Okay? You can choose to make your decisions, but these kinds of effects on other innocent people means that you must relook that decision. So for me, I have always held the position that the legal fraternity needs to take another look at this, not because of us, but because of the effect of our work on others. Then it leads to these absurdities which have brought this discussion on, where you say we are on leave. And by the way, when you say we are on leave, so like you said, I'm supposed to be enjoying my leave. I'm not. I have scheduled other things around it. I have trips, I have conferences, other things. So since you say we are going on leave and the judges are not going to come, my lawyers have also taken their leave, things are slow. I have also scheduled things. When you say that, therefore, and I adjust to it, you can't come back and say you alone come to court. Why? All right. So the whole thing clearly is not making sense. And that's what is causing the problem. So I totally agree with the lawyers who insist they won't go to court. And let me say this for the record. This banter back and forth and that kind of thing. Please, all lawyers know that there are some courts that sit during vacations. But this is something that all lawyers, maybe the juniors will not know, but every senior lawyer knows. I know. All of us in court. The last time I was in court with another senior lawyer, it happened. The judges during vacation defer to the calendar of the lawyer. Listen, during the regular term, if the judge gives you a date, you take it. You can plead with him, but it has to fit his diary. All right? In other words, the court will determine when you should come back. All right? And I've seen people who said, they said, send your junior, that's why you shouldn't do solo practice. So the court have that right during the regular term. During the vacation term, the judges defer to the calendar of the lawyer. They'll say, will you be available during the vacation? Yes, my lord. No, my lord. When are you likely to be available? My lord, I'm traveling at this time. I'll be back at this time. And during vacation, it is the lawyer's calendar that rules. I've heard people talk about it. That means that you are handing over the power to the... No. It's because we have set up a system. And because we've set up that system, we have gained the right to adjust to it the way we do. And it's not just a system. There are laws backing it. And there's a long convention backing it. And there's something in law called reasonable expectation. If I have something to do, even from last year, okay, it is reasonable for me to expect that because this vacation is coming, I'll have that freedom. And so I can plan something from way back then. So when the time comes and everybody is going on vacation, you tell me that me alone, I should live my life and then come to court. No. So those who are talking as if a lawyer does not have a right to say I can't go to court.
But from what you are saying,
during vacation, it is wrong. And those who are saying a judge has the control over the time, the judge has that control during the regular time. During the vacation, by law, it is the lawyer's calendar that rules.
Okay. And Lord Martin, people, can you hear me? Counsel.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I can see you. I can hear you now. You heard Mr. Bento's point on this legal vacation matter to the extent that he agrees with those who was, Samuel Atachia, who said he's not going to court. Prior to this week that's gone by, him, together with Godfred Daming, had written to the Chief Justice that they had planned their vacation, so they cannot attend to court during this legal vacation period. Now, clearly, based on the warrant that we have seen from the Chief Justice, there was communication ahead of time that the cases involving their clients was going to be heard. Were they not attending to court? Would you say it's vacation that is legitimately due them, or delay tactics to, as it were, favor their clients in this particular cause? Because this is not the first time we're having vacation courts, but then again, it is because it's involved these high-profile cases. That's why we are seeing this come up, that some will say. Where does the pendulum swing for you?
Yeah, so Mr. Kansi, what you've said is an amalgam. You see it? Different issues. All of them, there's something to be said for each one. So let's see how much time I can do to explain each briefly. You see, before we come to the law, yes, undoubtedly, generally, and my emphasis is on generally, in the High Court, during vacation, we tend not to do substantive litigation. That's to say, in simple terms, the one you put the witness in the box and then cross-examine. So that part, the plenary hearing, that's been the general practice. You see, you've pulled out one case, that's the Atufosin and Jakpa case, where lawyer Sorry had to do cross-examination in vacation, right?
Yes, that's true.
It's true, but
that's what you see
I'm painting the general picture so that we understand. But generally, that one was an exception. So it's not as if all over the country during vacation, people were busily doing cross-examination. In the High Court, please, let's be fair, in the High Court, as for the District Court and the Circuit Court, for them year-round, they go, okay? They go on. So cross-examination, once the judge is not on leave. So even for those courts too, the judge takes leave. So when another judge comes to relieve that judge who is on leave, that relieving judge doesn't conduct hearings, plenary hearings involving cross-examination. No, we do the hearings generally that are on paper. That's why I say paper trial. So you read what each lawyer has said, the opposing lawyers, etc. Then the judge and also listens to oral argument, but not a witness in the box. So that's the general picture. So because we've been used to it for all these decades, we tend to assume that that is the hard law. You see, so you see where the problem came from. It's because that's generally been it, that, during vacation, the vacation judge usually doesn't do the substantive hearing where the witness will enter the box. We presume that it's a no. Yes, that's a practice. But unfortunately for us, that is not what is in the hard law. You see, so, and it happens every time. You always find that there's a disparity between the hard law and the general practice. It's not new. That's one thing many observers will tell you. There's always a disparity between the law on paper and the law in practice. So this is one of the areas where the law in practice gave us room, okay, or leeway. So we all look forward to the vacation. So here, Kofi Benton mentioned legitimate expectation. Yes. So over this time, but I'm not saying I'm holding legitimate expectation all through 100%. No, I'm saying at a starting point, there's that thing. But the only unfortunate thing is that in this case, the hard law doesn't support us. So what I see is that we've been used to that practice where vacation generally, we don't do the substantive hearing. But now that the law is being thrown in our face, that's to say that, look, in vacation, there will be more trials. Because you see, with this, it tells you that for all other vacation judges, now this is going to serve a precedent where the judges will insist that, look, for the substantive cases they have, they want to do hearings. Not immediately, but I'm saying begin to set a precedent.
Right.
So we need a bit of time. So the key thing I'm saying is that this one, we need to negotiate and not fight it as of right, because the hard law doesn't support us. It is a practice which supported us. Some have called it convention. No. You see, when you can use convention as an English word, but not the technical word convention. For us in law, when you say a convention, it's a lot more technical. It's a lot more. So just to make it simple, this one is not a convention. It's a practice that's been going on. So now that the law is being thrown in our face, we need a bit of time to adjust. And then you see more trials during the vacation. But we just hope that it doesn't become so widespread that we cannot rest. That's how come I said, Mr. Counsel, let's repeat this point forcefully. The Chief Justice is not the one to set the date. So because this has been the practice and we are all used to the vacation, and that's how come me talking. You see, I'm not around. Yes, that's a vacation. You go away. You see? So what would happen is that you go before the trial judge and negotiate. In this particular case,
so it's not one that you are of right as a lawyer entitled to.
Very good. Now that the law is being opened, yes, it was a convenience that we're all enjoying. But now that the law is being pulled, you take it slowly, go and negotiate with the judge. Elsewhere, I've said that because the judges are different and the lawyers are different, negotiations take skills, etc. So I would have even preferred that the GJA should redirect their letter to the Association of Magistrates and Judges, or is it Judges and Magistrates, right? So that they can do the negotiations at the high level and get general principles, general points of agreement, so that individual judges can be guided, so that individual lawyers can be guided. It's easier. Because now what I mean is that, so you may go into court A and tell the judge that, oh, my lord, I'm aware it's vacation. I'm also aware you have the right to go off your hearing. But please, I will agree to work for the next 3 weeks. Let's do as much work as possible. Then the remaining, let's say, almost another, call it 6 weeks or so, I want to rest. You say, so the judges will understand. But not every judge will take it that way. Another judge will say, no, I won't. So to prevent many negotiations, etc., our leaders at the Bar Association should rather contact the Magistrates Association and see if they can get a general agreement, which we then can use. Because now that this has been said, look, you can't stop a judge from going on. You can't stop a judge from going on, because the law is that once he sits, and let's make this correction, please. The warrant that the Chief Justice gave, it does not say that here the Dubois case, here the Hanan Aludiba case. No, it's general that you have to sit during the vacation. So once the judge is working, if you have a case before the judge, ipso facto, it means you have to work. If your witness is in the box, or they are now going to put the witness in the box, it must go on. So the Chief Justice didn't single out cases. Let's make this clear. He says, Justice Francis Achibonga, sit as a vacation judge. Here's your warrant. Justice Charity Assem, sit as a vacation judge. Here's your warrant. So it's the judge who has the cases, and then would say that, look, I'm going on with all the cases. Now the impression has been created that the Chief Justice specifically told those judges to sit and deal with only Edubuahi and the Hanan cases. That's not correct.
I see.
So I believe in all.
It's a very important clarity that you put to this, because there are over 26 courts sitting now with the vacation. I've seen the list, right?
Perfect.
Is all of this happening because of the so-called high-profile cases involved? Reason why we're having this Supreme Court intervention being called on and the GBA's position on this matter?
Yes, so we would say that it's the high-profile cases that have drawn the attention to this matter. You see, yes, because naturally, you see the plain truth, speaking plainly, as I told you, all the points you raised in your first question feature. The plain truth is that in these high-profile political cases, one of the key things a lawyer generally looks to do is to delay the case as much as possible, hoping that it will go into the next election cycle, okay, or electoral cycle. So in plain terms, delay it so that if the thing can go beyond 2028, then that will be good, because in 2028, there will be an election. So then naturally, you see that Eduwahi is of once he was appointed by Akufo-Addo, you ipso facto say his MPP. That's the way you speak. Hanan, even though they may not personally be. So I'm just saying that by the appointments, that's how we do the analysis.
Right.
So delay it so that perhaps election 2028, then your party can come. Even though in this particular case, it doesn't look like 2028 their party can come. But usually that's the thing, that delay it, and then let's see, So it's a key part. An attempt to delay is also very, very obvious in this case. It's usually part of the game. We have to speak plainly.
I see. Now, the Supreme Court is being asked in 2 suits to answer this question about the constitutionality of these legal vacation courts. Is there a real case to answer there, from where you sit?
No, the legal vacation is there, expressly provided for by law under Order 79. You see, do we have time to read? We don't even need to read. It's so trite.
Yes, Order 79 is here.
So Order 79 has, we have 3 vacations.
There you have it.
This current one, which starts from 1st August, okay, and then usually it ends on the first Monday after the first Friday of October. You see, so you wait. When October starts, you check when is the first Friday of October. When you see that Friday, the following Monday, that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Monday, then we start. That's been it. So apart from that, then we have the Easter break.
So the first Friday of October is 2nd October, yeah.
So it means that we start on Monday 5th, because Friday is 2nd, Saturday 3rd, Sunday 4th. So Monday 5th. So that's the official day. But I know that even though the official day is 5th, in practice, because people would have gone away for a while, etc., depending on who your lawyer is, they will add that, 1 more week. And even the court itself, you go and then a few days, from 5th to 6th, 7th, 10th, maybe it's not that serious. So we practically add another week to prepare to start. So that's been it. So once it's in there, I don't know how you're going to say it's unconstitutional, because it also helps us to rest.
Right.
It helps us to rest.
Okay. So the point you make is, which is cardinal, is that this is it's not as of right for the lawyer to demand that I have planned my vacation, so I'm not coming to court, even if my case is being called and to be heard during this legal vacation.
The court is the judge. You are perfectly right. The court is the judge.
Okay.
So that vacation, they will tell you that it's for the judge. So you have been getting an advantage that the judge is on vacation. But if today you now want to say it is your right, then it's a big problem.
Thank you. Lawyer Godwin Ejudi Tamaklo, who is the CEO of National Petroleum Authority, says, kindly find out from my learned senior Kofi Bento if he is aware that the Justice Dixon Kwame Afre handled the quality grain case during the legal vacation. Witnesses were taken during the legal vacation. What convention are we talking about? This convention started when? Maybe we should expressly legislate against the legal vacation for certainty going forward. Kindly tell Senior Kwebu that the case was the Republic versus Mike Yineko in August 2023, not the Ato-Forcing case. Lawyers should have adopted a different approach to get done than making it look like it can't be done, you see.
See, no, he's mentioned me.
Okay.
Look, that fact should be made abundantly clear. During the legal vacation, no lawyer may be compelled to come to court. Usually, it is negotiated with the lawyer's diary being the overriding concern. I will leave the rest. Maybe I see what others will say.
Just have to like, please.
Why is that a problem?
All right. So, first off, we need to understand that in managing the court systems as we have it, the Chief Justice has an overriding authority. He literally determines what point in time the court sits. He determines where the court sits. He determines the time and day, anything. The Chief Justice can make a court sit on a Sunday, on a Saturday, on a Christmas day, on a Salah day. It is purely, yes, the right of the Chief Justice. And so it doesn't matter. He can determine that you sit from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. and you would have to sit. Now, this is clearly stated. In fact, if you go into the Order 79 that...
I have Order 79.
Yeah, you have just a fraction of Order 79.
Yes. So
so if... So let me give you some portions of it, just for the record.
Please.
So first of all, Order 79, Rules 1, Sub-Rule 2, says that the sessions of the court shall be for such hours as the Chief Justice shall direct. That's the first thing.
Let's put that on the screen, yes.
Please, that is very important.
Shall, yes.
And then it goes on to Order Sub-Rule 3, hours. It says that the offices of the court shall, subject to Rule 2, be open to the public on every day of the year for such hours as the Chief Justice shall direct. Please remember that.
Perfect.
In fact, it further says in the same Rule 3, Sub-Rule 3, that except as otherwise directed by the Chief Justice, the offices of the court shall be closed on Sundays, Saturdays, and public holidays. Please remember, except otherwise decided by the Chief Justice. In other words, if the Chief Justice says sit on Saturday, you will sit on Saturday.
Right.
Sunday, you will sit. A holiday, you would sit. You don't have any option out of it. Now, the same rule...
Atacha doesn't know this.
Okay, no,
Ask her, doesn't he know this?
Atacha is my learned senior, so I know he knows better than I do. This is... so I know it's rhetorical, but...
Doesn't he know this?
So now, in federal to this, the law allows for 3 different vacations. In fact, the law calls 3 different vacations. And this is allowed per our rules. The first vacation is Easter vacation, as we call it. Easter vacation, we have just about 10 days of vacation. You go. And then you come to what has become known as the summer vacation. And it ends on the 30th of September, not in October. So it starts from 1st August and it ends on 30th of September.
2 straight months.
2 straight months, uninterrupted. And then we have the Christmas vacation. So these are the 3 known vacations to the law. And that starts on the 23rd of December and it ends on the 6th of January. These are very specific. There are no ambiguities to these dates. Now, this is what we have. Now, in all these, unless the CJ directs. Now, remember how and then let's go into how the CJ directs these matters. So long as you're within these 3 phases, if you have to sit, because this is, if you like, statutory, if you have to sit, you need authority. Otherwise, everything you do will be unlawful.
Okay.
It is illegal. Yeah. It can never be accepted in law for any reason. And so this is where the term warrant comes in. Right. So the Chief Justice would have to authorize you to do what you have to do during these 3 window called vacations. Yeah. This is what happens. Now, as Kofi had said, at least between he and I, for the last 14 years that we've been in practice, it has been normal for every lawyer to be in court if you want to. However, usually, if you have a matter in court, this is what happens. Before vacation commences, the judge would inform you that I will be sitting during the vacations. And so if you are available, I'm available to conduct your cases. Right. This is what happens, what has become known as a negotiation. The judge, prior to the vacation, would inform all lawyers appearing before him or her that I'll be sitting during the vacations. In fact, sometimes, most of the times, the lawyers rather go around even asking, my lord, would you respectfully be sitting during the vacations? You go every court you enter, you have to find out so that you can adjust your life to suit this.
Right.
Now, what this means is that it is not compulsory on either side. As for the judge, because he has a mandate to sit, he doesn't have a choice. He will be sitting. But as to whether you be coming or not, it's a matter that you'd have to negotiate with the judge.
Right.
This is what every lawyer does. In fact, I have to be blunt. The only reason this has become an issue today is because of the political connotations.
The cases, the
Otherwise, if you look at Justice Kokuvite, for instance, Kokuvite, just next week from Monday the 17th, he has over 60 cases in her court, including one of the Wuntumi related cases and all these other cases. 60 cases. In effect, she's not sitting because of a political case. She is sitting because the Chief Justice has given her a warrant to sit. And she has not just one case, not two, not three, not four, not five, or close to 60 cases just in 1 week. Now, this excludes any other week that she may be sitting. And so we need to be frank and honest with ourselves that this is nothing novel. This is not new, not to any lawyer. And it is not a matter of you did it and I'm doing it. It is not an MPP and NDC thing. It has always been with the legal practice from day one. And it has been 2 months and not 3 months, as Prof alluded to earlier. Indeed,
when
but that's not even an issue.
When the trains came, they reduced it from
when they started flying.
When we stopped seeing, and we started train.
Thank you, gentlemen.
After flying, they should have come to one, but they didn't.
Actually, it's true. Please conclude. I need to go for a break.
Let me add that. Now, so it is not entirely accurate that when you have an emergency case, you cannot have access to a judge. If there's an emergency, particularly when it's a human rights issue, among other things, or habeas, all those human rights matters, you can easily rush to court because there's always a skeletal court sitting. Unfortunately, and I admit that you may not have an emergency case, but you may have what you might want to call an important case that you would have wished that your judge was sitting on it. But unfortunately, you may lose. And so, yes, it is true that some people would always be victims of the legal vacation. There is no doubt about it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Justice Abdullah, and thank you, Kofi Benton. I'm going to go for this quick break, gentlemen. When I come back, I'll send you out. But Lawyer Tijita Maklo responded to a point that you made, Mr. Benton. He says, Kofi Benton is with respect wrong. Justice Dixon Kwame Afre compelled the attendance of the lawyers and their clients. It was not the consent of their lawyers. And I think that this matter as to whether we're going to go for this quick break. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. Senor Onse would have his take on this. We have the Adamus matter to talk about as well. We'll be back shortly, please.
What you're saying is true. It is possible.
Mina All
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. Bibi from AIFA said the prerogative of legal vacation is that of judges, not lawyers, as your panelist was indicating. Colonial judges will never grant African lawyer the right to determine their vacation. That's on a lighter note, you say. This one here from Professor Abdullah Ali Nachia. Prof, good morning. Thank you for the message. Says, excellent and brilliant submission on legal vacation from the divergent views expressed by your guests so far. Bravo, Justice Abdullah. You say thank you very much. And Senor Jose, on this legal vacation.
It means a lot to get a feedback from him.
Yes, indeed. This one, Dr. Notedia says, it is nauseating, the technical twist we give to political hypocrisy. What was urgent about the Jachekwe daily trials saved the crucial numerical outcome. Daily sittings have impact on clients and lawyers. Some bailiffs claim to have crossed Ghana to serve processes. We must expunge this term high-profile cases and give everyone expedient justice. Kwesi met EC's deadline but was slapped with criminal charges. It's just about the cases involved, or there's a real issue that has to be addressed with this vacation court. I think you've heard from the different sides of the coin on this. I'll give you the last word on this, please.
Well, I want us to look at it a bit more from the constitutional side. You know, Article 91 says that a person shall be given a fair hearing within reasonable time. So the question, so when we have the Superior Court shut down for 2 months every year, we must ask whether delay is reasonable for litigants whose liberty, property, or constitutional rights are at stake. I have been in court for 8 years over a matter that, what do you call that thing? It's a civil defamation case.
8 years.
8 years. Kennedy Japan.
8 years.
The lawyer just keeps taking tactics that continue to just delay the process. It's supposed to be a very simple matter.
Defamation.
You understand? And then I, who's the victim, I'm being punished for it. So where is the reasonability in this whole thing? So I think that the concept of the vacation itself somewhat may not fully be progressive in bringing this particular promise and requirement of the Constitution to bear. Article 1251 says that justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic. Justice cannot emanate from the people if access to the court is also restricted for such an extended period. So where are we sitting with this? Article 23 also requires that administrative bodies act fairly and reasonably. If only selected criminal cases are allowed to continue during vacation while others are paused, we must examine whether that administrative discretion is fair and reasonable. Why is my case also not being there? So I see Kojo's case, and also there's also another one. And I've also seen a bit of Azan's argument. But before then, I think I take 296A, which says discretionary power must not be exercised arbitrarily, capriciously, or biasedly. This is the constitutional test that any directive being exercised by the CJ would have to sort of pass. So there's some practicality, and I agree with Azan that there must be prioritization. We heard from Yoni. Justice Yoni Kulendi, that we have how many thousand, 30,000 also outstanding at the Supreme Court. The truth of the matter is that if everything would have to now follow the queue, I'm pretty sure that all the issues that are raised today may not see the light of day till a 4-year term. So there has to be some level of prioritization. But every one of it also comes back to vitiate the promise of the Constitution about equity, about accountability, probity, about justice, about our own human rights, so, and also the promise of reasonable time. There is a need for the judicial system to relook what it does. The UK still has a vacation, a legal vacation. I think yes is August to, I think August, and then September, but it's not as maybe as radical as the type that we often experience.
Right.
The US doesn't. If you want to take your leave, you take your leave. The business of the court must continue. We are struggling with dispensing justice in our country. We have to expand our courts, not the Supreme Court, but I'm saying we have to expand our courts. The 24-hour economy promise, this is where I think that the NDC should have deployed it very quickly. So we can actually have justice dispensed much quicker. It encourages more confidence in the economy. It will actually boost investment. It will pay for itself in the medium to long term. But how we're doing this and coupling it with this kind of vacation is not reasonable. Okay. Now, in this particular case, now let me speak the politics. That people are concerned about the what's his name, Edu Boaing, or the political cases. Yeah. I won't call it political cases. These are proper accountability cases.
National interest cases.
National public interest cases. They are not that private, all right? And it is corruption. That is threatening confidence in our democracy. That is threatening our economic sustainability. It is a matter of priority. I think that these corruption cases must be prioritized at any point in time. I hear you on the 60 cases. I don't think so. I think that all corruption cases must be dispensed with, because it is the interest of the whole state that is at risk. We are destroying the culture, the ethos of our governance system, and the sustainability of ourselves as a state, and risking becoming a failed state as a result of corruption. It must be prioritized. It must be dedicated. It must be a day after day. It's not a matter of a list of cases. The CJ must take a position, a view on this kind of matter. In exercising it in this way, I don't think it's being capricious. I don't think that it will be arbitrary. It will be reasonable, because it is the interest of the general public good that such matters are executed and prosecuted properly. It is not to say that people should be convicted.
Okay.
Because even the people who are also part of it must also be free of this matter. Their family should quickly be free of the matter. You understand? Can you imagine what's happening to Hanan? All right? His wife, his children, his whole economic life has been brought to a standstill. His accounts have been frozen. Look at what is happening to the other one, Edu Boaing. Unless, of course, they have too much money, they don't even know how to live. Yeah, I'm saying then it means that they really stole the money. But
Thank you.
if you didn't steal the money,
All you have is in your account.
everything you are working on, when you wake up morning, you will pray that the CJ should make this case a day after day matter, so that you can move your hand and start living your life. I don't know how I'll be living with the tag of stealing government money and corruption. My children are going to school. How's they're going to look at me?
And then you have a lawyer
Look,
saying you are dragging
Kennedy Japan went to say something about me. He's the one I have sued, and he's running away, jumping left, right, center. I'm just telling you, even that one is a problem for me. To date, every time I have a business, international business matter, that publication comes up. You understand? And I have to send my lawyer's report on the status of the case and all that. It is disruptive. You understand? But thankfully, people know me. People know the case is stupid.
Okay.
You understand? But I am being deprived of justice.
Thank you.
So I beg you, the MPP people should keep quiet. If you are feeling that it's because of those cases, if you are a serious person about your integrity, you will tell your lawyer, I want this matter quickly dispensed with. Quick. Within 1 year, 6 months, I need my life back.
Thank you. Senor Jose.
Unless you have stolen the money well enough, so you can be hungry like that.
And on this matter, gentlemen, and I need to go on to the next issue, gentlemen, please. Thank you. Dr. Boy Kikimoto, and please, gentlemen, says, Alfred, good morning. Please, is the legal vacation meant for the bench or is it for the bar? I think this question has been answered already. This week, the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources dismissed some reports and public speculation or some reports in the public domain that the government's revocation of the mining leases of Adamos Resources is intended to pave way for the company or its asset to be sold to another investor. In fact, there's some Chinese that were mentioned in there, and pictures of they on the company's premises and so on. There was a statement that was issued. Let me put it on record. We try to get the ministry's representation here and Minerals Commission as well. They are held up in other equally demanding tasks as well. And then they gave some further information, in fact, based on some documents I requested, that the Adamos lease revocation was based on breaches, not asset sale. What queries do you raise about this, Mr. Bento?
And I made a huge issue of this because I have taken the principled position that we must be helping Ghanaian businesses and not destroying them. On the specific area of mining, I have been here, I have been elsewhere and said, I am prepared to support this government in this program to indigenize our mines. I have raved and ranted over the South African xenophobia and said we should take away Goldfields mines. And if we have capable people in this country like Ibrahim Ahmad, give it to them. I don't care what the issues are, as long as in the hands of a Ghanaian. I've gone on, so my principal position is known. Then I get information to this effect, that a woman who has been running mines, this mine, when have you heard of her? For over a decade, all right, has simply been told that your lease is revoked. A lease that was passed by Parliament, revoked. And I go and check, and I have here with me the letters of revocation, I have the responses, I have the reports, all of it here. In short, the reasons why they state they are revoking the mine do not tally with any of the provisions in the law, Act 703, Section 68, which is specifically that section regarding revocation. The conditions upon which you will be revoked.
Act 708.
Act 708, Section 68. And then in the letter, they claim Act 708, Section 5, which is an omnibus provision that says that for all kinds of there are general terms in law and there are specific terms. And the cardinal rule of interpretation is that where specific terms are provided for the doing of a thing, you resort to that and not the general terms. Then they go under the general terms and say, we have seen some problems with you generally, and so we are revoking your thing. In a matter of a week, they write a letter to her saying, oh, this is the problem we are seeing. Then they say, we have investigated the problem and the recommendation has been made for your revocation. And then they write a letter and say the thing has been revoked. All right? And I have seen the responses that they sent. And because you don't have time, but all kinds of allegations that have been made that they are doing galamsey on the land and whatever it is. Listen, me, I have gone through the merits of the matter. Okay? There's issues they state are grounds for revocation, are not grounds in law. And then they come back again. And I heard somebody referred me to something that was going on at Sempa. So I went to listen. Now they say she's owing tax. She's not paying her royalties. And then she's not helping the people in CSR. And all that. I'm like, when did owing tax become a crime? Government institutions owe tax to government. And when you owe tax, they sit down with you, they arrange with you. And who does not owe tax one way or the other in the mining industry? Okay? So it's like they're no, let me finish. Let me finish. I beg you. Prof, please. No, owing tax is not a crime. Let me finish my point. Look, listen. So let me finish.
It's not a crime.
Prof, please. See, I'm agitated because, listen, I'm going to go to the conclusion. No Ghanaian business must be collapsed by a Ghanaian government official or Ghanaian government. When Dr. Bawumia becomes president, I will take a stand and give him this advice. 1, unless a crime is being committed in any company, don't collapse any business.
That's unless a crime is being committed.
Yes, unless a crime. I'm making a point. Let me flow. Listen, if the woman has committed... let me finish.
Hold on.
No, don't help me. I need to flow. If the woman has committed... And it's serious for me because, you see, we don't want to sound as if we say everybody should go and do whatever they want. If she owes tax, go and collect the tax. GRA has laws by which they can deal with that. If she owes royalties and whatever it is, deal with that. But you don't get up when somebody has spent hundreds of millions of dollars, spent a lifetime developing a mine, running it, and she gets one of the problems is that she has allowed galamsey people onto her land. Anglo Gold Ashanti is suffering that. Every major mine is suffering that. So my point is, if the person is having problems, your job as a government is to help them. And if it is money they owe, I'm saying, look, if they owe money up to the point of the value of the company, then let somebody else pay the tax and give it back to the bank. No government should proceed to collapse any Ghanaian company. And when it comes to mining, where we have over 150 years of history, and most of it has been foreigners doing what they want with our money, and you have somebody, look, if you go to Galamsey, we have problems there.
Okay.
If you go to the top of the mine, we have problems there. This is the middle ground where we want people to go in and then master this art, do it well. If they have problems, go and help them. So on the Adamus thing, look, if you have time, I'll go through the merits of it, but I'm saying this on the record. One, the reasons they gave for revoking the mine in writing, which I have here, do not agree with Section 68. They breached that law. They were supposed to give them at least 120 days, even if they found infractions, to remedy those things. Because you don't just get up and young people. They did not do that. And now they claim that it's a prerogative they have, whether to give the 120 days or not. Who told you that?
So, Beto, thank you. Prof, quick.
I just want to say that while Kofi may be right, in his right to say that if the revocation was not based on 708, then it may not be right. But the point is that if there are things that are untoward and they are done in a manner that also threaten the very survival of humanity, and those things are not provided for within the law, must we look on unconcerned? And the bit about owing taxes to the state is not criminal. You see, I beg to differ. We've all traveled before. And elsewhere, you see how the urgency with which people are always in a hurry to settle their tax obligation to the state. It may not be crime because we may not have legislated against it, but to the extent that not paying tax deprives us of the needed resources to run the country, in my view, is worse. Not paying taxes, okay, or owing and not paying is worse than it even being made a crime. And so my point is, well, I heard you say that the woman is well within his right to go to court. I mean, it's well within his right to go to court. But my point is that the fact that the reasons given for the revocation are not, you are not seeing those reasons in 708 as provided, does not, in my view, mean that there aren't any things that are being done that are not untoward, that require some actions to be taken. So in your view,
like
in your view, we all support indigenous businesses and we must support indigenous businesses.
Why did they give it to
When I was doing that,
yes, so that's what I'm doing it to you.
Okay.
So my point is that if it is wrong, it is wrong. Let us find a way of addressing some of these infractions. If it includes revocation and you are not happy, the court is there.
Right. Thank you. Senor, please.
You know, it's a depressing case. One, we must realize. Yes, you see, one, we must all acknowledge the responsibility of the state to enforce our laws, and also it owing us, or the actors also owing us a duty of care to make sure the operations of all actors within the economic space are compliant with that which is that promotes the good of everyone, including the economic good of the country. But doing business in Ghana is not easy. I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a multi-sector entrepreneur. I feel it. I know what it takes. When you want to take an action as this, you should be moderate. That's why 296 is important, all right? About you not being too arbitrary, and when it has to do with a Ghanaian business. And even more soft and sensitive is the fact that it's a business being led and driven by a woman. We don't have many women much in this space, if not none at all. Aisha Wan was a Galamsey queen. This we allowed her to live here peacefully. But you see, look, guys, I think that there must be some balance. Because look at the key issues that the ministry is raised. Adamus breaching conditions of the mining lease, Adamus failing to comply with some directives issued by the commission, Adamus not providing certain documentation, regularizing their ownership, and on the back of that, some. Are they right? I'm saying, let me assume that the ministry is right, and I think that the ministry must flag it. Are they so material that they are not corrective?
Right.
That we can cure this problem and still save the business?
And you know what? Even when businesses act criminally, all right, deal with the criminals of the business, which will be the directing minds of the business, and not the whole institution that has a certain socio-economic dependence for the community, that employs your own Ghanaians. You understand? You have to be careful. So a certain balance is required.
Okay.
So whilst you enforce regulation, you don't enforce regulation to collapse. You enforce regulation to correct.
Okay.
You enforce regulations to thrive and to rationalize indigenous businesses. Okay. I know I have met Angela Liz. Actually, I didn't even know she was.
Senor,
I didn't even know she was the one here. But I encourage the government to please just relook this. Revocation is a bit hard. Work with your people to correct this.
Thank you very much. And as I indicated, next week we have
the more Ghanaians who own our economy, the better it is for us as a
Thank
people.
you. Just Abdullah, I've got to run on this.
There's
Thank
one
you.
last thing.
Thank you.
You
Thank
realize that Jinapor was not mentioned inside this thing.
Thank you. Yes.
Jinapor
So, on behalf of the rest of the team, thank you for joining us. The sports team comes up next. Accra Academy homecoming is ongoing right now. So, join us at the school campus at Kaneshi.
He's a good minister. A minister of integrity.